Yo,
Yo, what's the
what is
deal?
yes, good morning, nation. It's time for another one. Y'all already know what time it is.
Another
So,
banger, man. Make sure y'all
yes,
tapping
sir.
in.
Let's go. Let's hit it. Guy, Chris, protect the shield. Good morning, brother. How you doing? My guy, Lunatic Raider, Raider Allegiance. What is
What?
good?
We on? Oh, hey! We on.
None other than Mr. Chris, bringing none other than our guy, Jamal. Bring out none other than the Violator, Brain Marbury. Bring out none other than the notorious Special Guest. Yeah.
Hey, man, what's the deal?
What's good, nation? Welcome to Good Morning Raiders. We are your hosts. I'm Jay Raider. This is the Raider Rundown. Back again for another fire episode. You already know what time it is. Salute to everyone already here and everyone pulling up. Appreciate you guys tapping in with us on this beautiful Saturday morning, wherever you guys be at. I hope you guys are having a great and wonderful day. We have a great show lined up for you guys. But before we go ahead and get into it, we always got to go ahead and acknowledge our people already here. So let's go ahead and salute the chat. Shout out to our guy Paul with the Raiders. Now I
You
can't.
can't
I'm
use,
not.
you can't use the graphic. I was
I
about
can't
to say
use
that.
that
You
one,
can't,
dog. I
can't
gotta
use the
delete it
graphic.
off the thing now. Damn. I gotta come up with some other one now.
We
Shit.
can't have shit, dog. I'm telling you, we can't have anything. We can't have anything.
Yeah. Shout out to Silver and Facts. What's the deal, my guy?
What's going
Salute
on,
to
big
you.
dog? Love the profile picture.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. This is
It's
gonna
almost
end.
about that
Gonna be a
time.
banger.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Yaya in the building. What a
What's
dude,
going
brother.
on, big
Appreciate you
dog? What's going
pulling
on?
up. Our guy Bloody Raider in the building.
What's the
What,
deal, big
what's
dog?
good, my
Appreciate you
guy?
for pulling up as always.
Yes, sir. Our guy, just another DJ
Jay,
in the
what's the deal,
building.
bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Raider Nation live in the building.
What's
Salute
going
to our
on?
guys.
What's
Gravy,
happening?
Low, Gabe. Salute, guys,
Salute to the
fellas.
people, man.
Appreciate
What's
you
going on
pulling
with the
up. Yes,
family?
sir. Yes, sir. Our guy G Fam in the building. Salute to you, brother.
What's happening? What's
Appreciate you
happening?
guys pulling up. All right. So we'll bring in our guests shortly. But we're gonna go ahead and kick things off because there is a lot to go ahead and talk
Yep.
about. And
Just disclaimer, give our guests a little time to get here. You know what I mean? He's setting everything up. We getting everything connected. So just give our guests a little time. But until then, you getting some premium rundown and J content. You feel what I'm saying?
yes,
Until our
sir.
guests get everything set up in the background. But hey, Jay's gonna start us off with some of them fire topics as always, man. I know you got some lined up.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead and let's start with the biggest elephant in the room. Literally happened 36 hours ago. Christian Wilkins released by the Raiders, a stunner a stunner. I was actually like on a date. I was actually on date night, bro, when this shit popped up. I was
Ah,
like,
he
what the fuck is
ruined
going
date
on?
night. Nah,
Ruined date
dog.
night, bro. I was like, man, like it's gonna be a good
I know the
one.
mood was
Just chill with
funky
the
after that too,
wifey.
man. I know your mood was
Yeah.
funky.
Yeah, man. I was like, yo, I gotta go on. I gotta go on for a few minutes, son. Come on, babes.
Yeah.
Give me that shot. And I went
Yeah.
on Jeff's show. We talked about it a little bit, but man, a stunner by the Raiders. They went ahead and released Christian Wilkins. He is no longer a Raider, and we're gonna go ahead and kick things off with that. Now, this is the biggest thing. The Raiders not only released him, but they void his contract, that 35.5 mil contract. That is null and void, meaning he ain't gonna get a dime.
Right.
Moving from moving forward. No guaranteed money, nothing. So whatever was paid to him, that's it. He keeps, but he is not getting anything else that was guaranteed. Now, what is the reason behind that? The reason that the Raiders are using, and I talked about it the other day. I did a midnight live.
Right. I seen that.
Basic, yeah. It's a little drunk and loaded edition, but basically is that they felt that he was in breach of contract. He didn't take his rehab seriously, and that's the reason why they went ahead and basically, just tore up that contract for that specific reason. It's crazy. I haven't really seen something like that really happen in my time.
Right.
Maybe there has been some other instances with other players around the league before, but as far as I know, I've never seen anybody get the contract voided because of how they've been handling their rehab, their mismanagement of a rehab. So that is big part of the reason why they are not paying him, and he is no longer Raider. Now there's some other things
that's some of it.
there's some other little things that also play
Because I'll
into
say
it,
this,
but-
right? Because and shout out Mitchell Rans. First and foremost, bro, there's a lot of people that y'all, and I said this on X. Some of y'all got to get that hate out your heart for content creators, period. You feel what I'm saying? Like point blank, period. Yes, there are certain guys that grift and do certain shit because the money's good and we're the nation and we just gonna click on whatever that we feel is either disrespecting or giving us love or whatever the case. There are some people like that, but majority content creators are actually fans that care about the team, and if they trying to give you knowledge, you feel what I'm saying, just receive the message, even if you don't like the messenger. There's a lot of y'all was attacking Mitchell Rens. You feel what I'm saying? We had him on the show, had him on my solo show, and you've had him as well. But attacking him for information that he just put out, right? Why would he lie about that? You feel what I'm saying? He's not going to put his YouTube, I'm not going to say career, but, his good faith, his goodwill on the line for no reason, bro. You know what I mean? So sometimes just receive the message. You know what I mean? Even if the messenger is not your favorite. But at the end of the day, he alluded to it yesterday, and I know a lot of people saw it. There's an incident that occurred. So, of course, your boy gets to do it. I do some digging, and there's a story that comes out today by Josina Anderson, right? So, of course, some little connects I may talk to. Josina Anderson comes out with a story that revolves around the incident, and I think your boy put fisticuffs on somebody. I ain't gonna cap. I think fisticuffs was being put on somebody. Some paws was being put on somebody, and ain't nobody saying it, right? I think him and another player done got into something. You feel what I'm saying? Because you got to think about this. Even in Josina's story, and we'll bring it up because I got it backstage right here. I'll add it to the stage.
Yeah.
But in his story, you can see there's disagreement with not only front office, but highlights. Several players go up to Christian Wilkins and says, "Oh, you should probably get this surgery, dog. Like, the Raiders ain't trying to steer you wrong. You feel what I'm saying? Get the surgery. That's fine, bro." But of course, we know now that's not something he's trying to do. He's not trying to hear that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Very likely something like that can arise into some tension. You feel what I'm saying? Very, very likely that can arise into some tension. As a grown man, you're trying to tell me to do some shit I'm not trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, so there could be that. And then we got to read the tea leaves, bro. I mean, Not only that, guarantees were voided in June. You know what I mean? Like in June 4th, guarantees are voided. So this is something that not a lot of people or nobody really reported on it. Nobody from the Raiders said anything. Say less. Nobody from the Raiders said anything. Nobody from the NFL said anything about that either. But now it's all forefront street that we made a move with this money in June, right? So following tea leaves, something happens in June, right? And now we talking about the surgery, this, and that. That incident shit is real. You know what I mean? Some weird shit happened.
There's something happened,
bro. And then you get to seeing the stories as well, how he alienates himself from teammates and coaches and motherfuckers not talking to him for real and all this extra shit. Yeah, something for sure happened. I putting it together. I'm just reading tea leaves. I think pause was put on somebody. I ain't gonna cap.
It could definitely be that because I did catch what Mitch put out the other day, and it's not that his sources aren't credible or he's just out there for for clickbait for views and stuff. There is a little bit of substance to this, right? With the whole foot thing, it was credible. He did need a second surgery. We didn't. We kind of like, well, no, not really anybody's talking about it. And because they kind of kept us in the dark, they kind of kept us, this incident was kept in the dark up until this point. Now that we parted ways, shit is starting to surface up. And usually that's what happens. I mean, the truth will eventually come out. I'm going to go ahead and put this up really quick. And then we'll put yours. Shout out to our guy, Ray Resistance.
Christian Wilkins. We have to zoom in on that thing real quick.
Yeah, he ignored medical advice, and that's not a lie. There was multiple people from our organization. I'm pretty sure there was doctors that recommended a second surgery, and he ignored that. He did not want to go ahead and do that. And the Raiders did what they felt best. They put out the statement. And this is a crazy statement. And I forgot whose show I was watching, but they pointed out something crazy. Usually when they put out statements like, and it was Q actually who put that out. He's like, usually they give you like a canned statement, like, we went ahead and acquired so-and-so, or we went ahead and released so-and-so. It's kind of like just changing the names and just maybe couple of words around. They made a specific statement about his release. Basically they put out, we decided that it is the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins and he has been informed of his release from the team. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field with no clear path or plan for the future return to play from Christian. This transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for the new season. Now, when I'm reading shit like that, there is a lot of very specific verbiage in that statement.
Exactly.
Commitment to excellence on and off the field. That's a number one indicator. No clear path for future return to play from Christian. That is another big message there. So, reading into that, there was definitely some shit up that was happening from him. Also, what we're hearing is that he wasn't buying into this new regime. Yes, we came off a bad season, 4-13, not what anybody would want to be in, especially if you're competing, you're part of a team. You don't want to be a part of a losing team. We get that, but nonetheless, you're here. This is your team. You're being paid to be here to play. And the organization has done everything up until this point to go ahead and put a great team together, a winning team together.
But let's keep it a beam, bro. Like, and this is where it gets dumb for me player wise, because usually, like, I try to see the player side of things. But you got to be fair, because at the same time, you got to see the team side of things. Player side, bro. If they're telling you to get that surgery, get the surgery, because that's on their dime. You feel what I'm saying? Because guess what? If something goes wrong, you can't look at me and be like, well, you ain't do what you supposed to. No. You told me to get that surgery. The coach. the GM, everybody, the front office, y'all told me to get that surgery. So I'm going to do it on your dime. I'm going to rehab on your dime. Because guess what? And then on the team side of things, if you just tell us you doing whatever the fuck, we can't track your recovery. We don't know what's going on. What should you, bro? As soon as you take a step on the field, you can say, "Oh, god damn, my foot hurt. We on the hook for 85 mil." But like no cap. That's on the money side of things, on the team side of things. So you got to understand it from both sides. But realistically, I really don't understand it from Christian Wilkins' side, bro. Because if you're getting these team doctors and you're getting professionals to tell you, hey, you need a surgery, bro. You need to go ahead and correct that. Do that. You're not. This is the thing, bro. And the team is telling you to do that. The team is not going to fucking cut you after they just told you to get a surgery, bro. They're not going to do that. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, now you may want to play this year. You may want to get right. But the whole thing for us as a team is to make sure you're right to play the entirety of the contract. So this year we take a hit, sure. But you doing all this extra rehab on your own, what if it leaks into next year? Right? What if it leaks into next year? And now at this point, and guess what, Jay? Didn't we say this like a couple weeks ago? Did we not say, without even knowing all the information, he needs to get that surgery, bro?
Yes. We've been talking about it almost every show.
Multiple
get that surgery. If that's the case, he needs to get the surgery. The longer he waits, the longer the rehab is gonna be. We're probably not gonna see him until next year anyway.
How many times did we say it, Jay? And then this is so many people in the comments too. And this is what gets on my nerves, and we'll talk about it a little later because Q join us. We can get some more insight on the other D tackles. But that's where it gets on my nerves, where people are like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. 4 weeks, man. It is what it is. He'll be fine in 4 weeks. Now all of a sudden, none of them people are in the chat no more. Now, all of a sudden, nobody is going to come out here and be like, you know what, Jay and Run? Y'all was right. Yeah. He needed a surgery. Yeah, bro, because why? This is a 10-month recovery. First of all, if he was doing what he was supposed to do, he'd be damn near playing by now. That's the whole thing, bro. Like this, he got hurt in October. There's no way his shit takes this long to heal. It don't. Unless something's wrong. That's the whole thing, bro. That's where it goes. Now, I'm gonna add this to the stage real quick, and then we can get to the chat because they got some questions. But this further strengthens, kind of what I was talking about, bro. Kind of what I was trying to allude to. If you look right here, right, and this is from Press too. Shout out Resistance, but he kind of shortens it for us. But she states in her article that Wilkins started to become disconnected with the organization and started to create problems amongst the locker room. She also states that he wasn't taking rehab or anything serious and over time became disconnected entirely. After being told he needed a second surgery to fully repair his Jones fracture, Wilkins decided to ignore medical advice from experts, ranging from coaches and several players who tried to encourage him that everything would be all right after he got that procedure. Continued to ignore advice and help. Anderson added, allegedly Wilkins and a player had an incident that has not been confirmed, which is probably not going to be confirmed because the way they do shit, they keep it hush-hush, right?
Keep it in the house.
You see how this regime kind of does stuff. They like to, you know what I mean, and throw you off here, be a little sly here. They like to do that, which is fine. I'm fine with that. We don't need, I don't want nobody airing out, these motherfuckers in the fist fought and did all that. I'm cool. Like, you know what I mean? I'm fine. But I'm pretty sure that's what's happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. If it was Max, we would have known probably. We probably would have known. I ain't gonna cap. But I don't think it was. I think it was somebody else. But either way, I think something went down in there, bro. Because that's the only way you can start to become. Because look, think about it, right? How many people you get to hear like he not all the way bought in? He not, he don't really want to be here. The quickest way to alienate and completely shut it down that your ass really don't want to be here, fight him up, baby. Everybody else.
Somebody said something, man.
You feel what I'm saying? Like 50, all 53 other dudes, you feel what I'm saying, on the squad are straight. You know what I mean? It's just got that one over here that is not like that. And if he fight one of us, then at that point, bro, like we're not gonna want to fuck with him no more. We don't want to talk to him no more.
Yeah.
Kind of what it sounds like.
And I think you're on the money, dog. I'm not even agreeing with you to agree with you. It just makes sense. It just makes sense, bro. I mean,
I think so. Read the tea
like you
leaves.
said, the tea leaves. If we're starting to add everything up, getting to this point, it makes a lot of sense. It could, one thing could be like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna rehab it, and I think if it really would shown the organization, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z to rehab this, and there is some progress that maybe he would have shown, then I think they would have approached this different. But I honestly, I think that video the other day had a lot to do with it. I think that was I think that was icing on the cake. The last straw that broke the camel's back. They're like, fuck this shit. We're done. We're done with your bullshit. And
I think that's what it was.
Pete don't fuck around. Pete don't fuck around. We know this now. He does not fuck around. He's not gonna put up with this shit. The guy's 73. You don't have that much time here.
No. I
don't have much time on the earth. Period.
Completely right.
So he's like, I'm too old for this shit. You want to do your shit, cool, bro. Do it on a different team.
And this is where I get mad, though, Jay. This is where I get mad, bro. I mean, real quick, if you want to answer Jack's question, because what does it mean about the guaranteed money? First of all, this ain't gonna get resolved for a couple of years, dog. Like it's
gonna take a minute anytime soon.
It's going to
get ugly. It's gonna get ugly. Mm-hmm. We're gonna probably be in the news quite a lot because of this. Mm-hmm. Because he's probably gonna try to sue the Raiders at some point if he can't get anything resolved with the NFLPA. Now, NFLPA in itself right now, I heard it's a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's in shambles. Their president and their leadership is going through like a change. Like a couple guys quit. Like main important guys quit, and it's not.
So it's kind of it don't look good for his grievance at all. But at the same time, like he will try to file something. He gonna try to get that money back. There's no if, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah, the and then also too, I think he was the NFLPA rep for the Raiders. And so now that he's gone, they gotta get somebody else to come in and be the guy to be the rep. But yeah, this is not gonna get resolved anytime soon. It's gonna even get uglier. It might go up until a point where we're in the news regarding this on lawsuits and all that. Now, if the Raiders really want to go ahead and get past this and move on, maybe they come into a settlement where maybe half of the money gets released. Right. Or something where they can come into a happy medium. That could always possibly happen. They don't have to do that, but they could, right? It all depends on the organization, Mark, now Brady, all of them, if they want to go ahead and make this go away quickly and not be caught on the limelight so much.
Right.
So that could definitely happen. But as of right now, they are not paying that dude.
No, nobody's getting paid. But this is where I'll start to go awry now, right? And then we can have this different conversation because it can lead into when we bring our guests on. But now a void is there for me. There's a void for me. And again, we're gonna have people come out here, and of course we can disagree, right? We can disagree, but I start to get annoyed at the people like, we'll be fine. Like, dog, a lot of y'all were counting on Christian Wilkins coming back this season to have whatever ranking you have for our defense. A lot of y'all counted him to come back. I know y'all did. So stop all that. A lot of people that's going to be like, oh, man, we're fine and we're all that. Secondly, as a fan base, we need to stop doing this shit where it's like once a free agent leaves or like whatever, we start to be like, oh, man, they sucked anyway. Or, oh, man, he was ass. He was trash. Like, bro, it's not true. Them five games he played, it was worth every penny. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. That for them first 5 games that he played for us, he showed that impact immediately. So I'm not going to sit here and disrespect the talent because the talent is there. That's why I say we have a void that we have to fill now. That a lot of people are like, well, hey, we drafted D tackles this year in the 5th and 6th round. They're going to automatically be them guys. Dog, the last 6th round D lineman to work out for us was Max Crosby. How many years ago was that? Bro, come on, dog. Like that those don't grow on trees. You don't get Aaron Donalds and shit in the 5th and 6th round out of nowhere. Sometimes, like, if you hit on one, excellent. But we have no idea what these guys are going to be. Our most experienced D tackle is Adam Butler right now. This is just real shit. Yes, Jonah Lualu played last year. Yes, I like him. I do think he can do something, right? But it's his second year. Last year, he wasn't all that impressive where I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, man, immediately 10 sacks year 2. Come on, dog. You know what I mean? We cannot do that. That's how we set ourselves up for disappointment as a fan base, because we get to put these unrealistic ass expectations on players that, you know, they may do a little something, but they're not going to come out here and be the Pro Bowler that Christian Wilkins was week 1. Yeah. Christian Wilkins is a Pro Bowl D tackle. You feel what I'm saying? Like he is one of the when he's healthy, he's one of the upper echelon D tackles in the league. We can't just say we're going to get that from a late round rookie immediately. You know what I mean?
It's a big void.
That's huge. Sure. That's huge. Now so we talking about like Quentin Jefferson, like, you know, taking that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I get it. We can be solid. But a lot of our rankings and shit, even some of y'all that had us going to the playoffs, it factored in Christian Wilkins coming back and playing at some point this season. That's why I'm saying we can't just, throw that away. It is what it is. Oh, we're not going to miss him or whatever. You can't say that because we thought he was going to come back this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to go before we go into the chat. And this is actually directly, I got a question for the chat. We're going to play a little segment right now.
Okay.
Called Hate It or Love It. All right. Let me go ahead and put this up. All right. Hate it or love it. Christian Wilkins release. Everybody in the chat. We got about 60 people in the building. Let us know. Do you guys hate it? Do you guys hate the move or you guys love the move? Let us know what you guys' thoughts is because it's a real question. You know, because I know everybody was shocked. I was shocked. I know everybody was shocked. So let us know. Do you guys hate it or love it? This move, and do you guys think this was the right or wrong move by the Raiders? Do you guys think it's, hey, you know, this is something that needed to happen, or no, we should have waited them out to see if he actually rehabbed that foot? You know, it could have been just a wrong perception by the Raiders. Let us know you guys' thoughts. I am very curious. I want to go ahead and hear everybody's kind of take on it, on, you know, what they're thinking about this whole Christian Wilkins deal. But either way, he's gone. So do you guys love this move? Do you guys hate this move? And was it right or wrong for them to go ahead and do it? Let's go ahead and tap into the chat.
Oh, shit. It's a lot of bad, a lot of hated. Okay, we got one love it. I like it. I like the duality. There we go.
Yeah.
One hate, another hate.
Jack hates it. Yeah.
Yeah, hates it. Jack, you already said you don't like it. DJ don't like it. His stick stepper don't like it. Raiders Mo Money Mike, you like it though. You love it. Okay. Great player, bad leadership for an organization. Okay. He should have rehabbed. That's the pro move. There you go. Love it. You didn't match the Bobby Rush team. It's your body. You have every right, but you work for the Raiders and they didn't agree with your commitment to excellence. This is where I get, right? Because I know a lot of people are like, can't get angry. I'm in the middle because I can't really choose. Yeah. I love it for the fact of like, because I always can look at the business side of it. I can always look at the business side and understand certain things. I know certain fans don't like to look at that, but I look at that as a organization, as a business, right? Which we kind of run our own little entities. If my employee is fucking around, then I'm gonna have to take corrective measures and corrective action. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, bro. This is 100%. If you're put yourself in Mark Davis' shoes, that is a $110 million investment that you have given this man, and you see him dancing around in the fucking locker room
for 5 games.
And you see him dancing around in the locker room when you got professionals that told this man, hey, chill out. If you do these steps and you do these steps, you'll be ready to go. You know what I mean? You'll be ready to play. But he's sitting there saying no, and you have the possibility in your mind to say, well, this motherfucker could just be collecting a check for me for nothing. For nothing. You see how stupid I could look and sound? No, I'm not doing that. Now, as a player standpoint, I can understand if you say like the surgery didn't work the first time, so why the hell would I get another one? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm 300 pounds. I'm big. That's again, this dude's 6'5", 310. This is a huge human being. So at the end of the day, like, you got to be careful. And his whole game is predicated on quickness, speed, and shit. You know what I mean? So like, I can see where he's like getting scared of it. But again, if I'm gonna get hurt, I'm getting hurt on my team's dime. Fuck all that. They told me that I needed a surgery. I'm getting the surgery. Y'all told me that. I'm getting paid by y'all. I'm making sure my $84 million is guaranteed. You ain't taking shit from me. You ain't taking not a dime from me.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would have stayed at the facility. No cap until it was ready.
Yeah.
Until it was ready. Because it's like, bro, again, these are professionals. The team is telling you, fuck all that, bro. Secure your money, secure your bread, and do what the team is telling you. All you had to do is say, you know what? Even if you're scared of it, I'm getting the second surgery. Because guess what? If he got the second surgery, I'm sitting right now on 84 mil, cooling right now. You know what I mean?
Yes. And you're like, I've done everything you guys asked of me. You can't knock me.
You can tell me.
Nothing you can
even
tell
if
me.
I can't play this year, even if I cannot play this year, guess what? Y'all told me to get the surgery. Say less. I'm sitting at home on my couch. I'm mad, but at the end of the day, I'm not that mad with that 84 next to me. I'm not that mad, bro.
Yeah.
So,
now he really mad, and he don't have
now
no
he's
money.
pissed. Yeah, now he's pissed because there's no money at all now. No bread.
Nope. And that's the crazy thing. And shout out to the Raider. He said that video makes 40 times worse, and that video already pissed me off. And that's facts, bro. I mean, that was when that video came out, I was like, okay, I didn't know how to feel about it. Like, yeah, it's cool. Maybe he's getting better, but at the same time, like, yo, bro, yeah, chill. Like, you're gonna fuck up yourself. You're gonna fuck up that foot, bro. Like, we don't know. You haven't been cleared yet. You're over here dancing and hopping around on Crocs, bro. You know,
it wasn't even regular shoes. It was Crocs, bro. Like that's what fucked up. I was kind of mad at who filmed it too, but then I was like,
it was Alex Bachman. It was Bachman.
I'm not gonna kill the messenger. There were certain thoughts I had about that, but I'm not gonna kill it. It's not totally his fault. Your boy wasn't doing what he's supposed to do, so okay, it is what it is. But the fact Bachman was the one that did it did kind of piss me off a little bit.
Yeah, they put it out there, and just him doing that. Also, now I'm pretty sure everybody's questioning like how really serious did he really treat his rehab? If he's off of his boot, he's dancing and fucking around, like how really good did he really treat that rehab? Did he really do the things that he really had to do to get his way back? You know, to me, it probably not. Probably not.
I want to show this. I want to show this real quick, and then we're gonna talk about this.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna text you on the private real quick. Just let me know.
All right.
Hold on. But while we looking at this, while we getting stuff together, let's look at this graphic real quick. Because I'm starting to be of the mindset, bro, and y'all let me know. We just gotta go through the draft at this point, bro. Just draft. Fuck free agency. Don't trade for nobody, dog. It is what it is, bro. Just go through the draft and build like that. Because all of these free agent signings that we have had are complete and utter garbage. Complete and utter garbage. Trades, free agency. It don't matter. It does not matter. Every time we try to bring in another player from another organization or whatever, it just don't work. It don't work. These signings are not even half the story. Look at this. Corey Littleton, 3 years, 32.5 mil. We knew how that worked out. He was trash. The next one, Yannick Ngakoue. Actually, I liked Ngakoue. I wasn't mad at that. That's actually a good one for me. They just didn't re-sign him, which I thought they should. But, can't cry over spilled milk. Chandler Jones, terrible. Jimmy Garoppolo, garbage. Christian Wilkins, wow. Gardner Minshew. Wow.
Mhm.
And that's not even naming names like LaMarcus Joyner and Devontae Adams with the trade. Bro, it's so many mishaps in trades and free agency where now I feel like we need to be banned. We need to be banned. We can't trade for anybody anymore. No more big ticket free agency until we figure out how to treat and do it right, bro. No more. Just build through the draft.
Yeah.
Bro. Build through the
Yeah.
draft.
Yep. Exactly. Oh man. But let me get us back here. All right. So before we continue on, it is that time, y'all. So let's go ahead and bring out the man of the hour, our guest for today. You guys know him from Locked On Raiders podcast. If you guys are in Vegas, tapping into that unnecessary roughness, AM 920. Make sure you guys tap in. And then the news show, The Squad, that they just came out a few weeks ago with our guy Lincoln Kennedy and another person as well. But let me go ahead and bring in none other than your boy Q in the building. What a do, brother. Appreciate you pulling up with us
brother?
on this Saturday morning.
Yeah, man. How you guys doing? Sorry it took me so long, man. The barbershop got pretty heated today, man. It was a
lot of talk today.
It was an event today at the barbershop. Let me just put it like that.
One of them days. I already know what you mean by that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's the day that the barber gets into it with the customer, and then the other barber gets into it with the other barber, and it's going down. So there was some shenanigans in the barbershop. It started with Kobe and it ended with the Raiders and the Chiefs. So you can imagine.
Lord! Yeah. I already know how that goes. That could be an all-day event talking about that one.
Yes.
Oh yes, sir. For sure.
But appreciate you for being here, brother. I mean, you know, we already getting to the elephant in the room, so to speak. And I know there are certain things, you know, you probably can and cannot discuss. But regardless of it, I mean, we would love your insight on, you know, of course, what fans are spiraling over these last couple of days.
Yeah, the Christian Wilkins situation. That's really, I'll tell you guys, I was on the air live doing my radio show when we got the notification. Well, I saw the notification from Adam Schefter. It was about 4:30 Pacific time. On Thursday, and all of a sudden it popped up. I was about to go to commercial, like I had done some tease that I thought was a great tease. Coming up next, we got this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, hold on, what? And I'm looking down and I see that, you know, the Raiders have moved on from Christian Wilkins. And I mean, I'm never a guy that's at a loss for words. I had nothing to say. I had no idea what was going on. I mean, if you think about it, with training camp getting started this past week, they'd only had 2 practices. And last week, you know, he was put on the PUP list. And from everything that I had been hearing was, okay, he's probably going to be ready for, you know, week 2, week 3, probably not week 1, but somewhere between, you know, the first week and the 4th week. So they're not going to have him miss all 4 games. And so that's the latest that I had heard. And then obviously, you know, after a couple practices, he's gone. And it just was a shock to me. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people think. Obviously, the money is the money, but that's for the Raiders to worry about. Him and or the Raiders and Christian Wilkins, they got to figure that out as the grievance has been filed. But I mean, he played 5 games, right? He played 5 games, and so it's not like he was a guy that had contributed for 15 games last year, and you saw how big of a difference maker he was going to be. And man, he is the key to make everything go. I mean, they learned how to survive without him last year after only 5 games. So I feel good that at least if there's going to be a silver lining in this whole thing, it's disappointing. Obviously, he's a hell of a talent. You want to have him out there. But if there's a silver lining, I mean, it's 2 practices in, now 3. So they have got time to build and see who can take that place and fill that void. And they've done it already without him. So they might as well just go ahead and keep on doing it without him. So it's definitely disappointing. But, you know, it happened early enough so it didn't, in my opinion, become a distraction.
That is probably the best that scenario that could have came out of it, because now we get young guys getting these reps and everything of that nature. But you know, there's a lot of people that are asking, you know, what the why, you know what I mean? What's the why on it? Now, is there anything you can tell us about the surgery being needed? Did he need another surgery? Like, is that true?
That's what they said. Yeah, I mean that's what the team has said without saying is that they wanted him to get another surgery. He didn't want to do it, which is strange, right? I mean, if you think about it, normally it's the other way around. Right now, normally
Right.
it's the team wants the guy to battle through it and just rehab it. He'll be back sooner. And when the team is suggesting that he needs another surgery, to me, that's what really caught my attention was, man, how bad was this? Because look, at mandatory minicamp, I witnessed with my own eyes. I saw him out there working off to the side and working with working with some of the trainers off to the side. Now he wasn't putting any football work in, but he was there. And so from everything that I understood is he was working really hard to get back. And that's when Pete Carroll told us that this has been a frustrating injury to try to overcome, and it's been difficult. And he was very like he gave us a good lengthy answer about it when we asked at mandatory minicamp. And then when we asked on the first day on Tuesday, when they opened up the training camp and said, hey, what's going on with Christian Wilkins? How close is he? And he said, we don't have a timetable for his return. And it was very short. I was like, wait, hold on. That's interesting because he totally did opposite, back in mandatory minicamp. So clearly they weren't happy and satisfied with his rehabbing process. He obviously didn't want to go under the knife again and have another surgery. I get that, but if they needed another surgery, to me, it just makes you wonder, man, how bad was this if another surgery was needed? So again, it's unfortunate, but I think the team will be fine. They've got about 8 dudes in that defensive tackle room. Just picked up another guy off of waivers, so I think that they'll be okay.
Got it. I think that's where all the confusion comes from, because at first we thought one thing, right? And then now we're spiraling into something else. But at the same time, is there a reason that a player could not want the surgery? Like, I mean, just from our perspective, we're saying like, okay, if the team is telling you to get the surgery,
right,
you might as well do it on their dime. I mean, at the end of the day, once you get their surgery, they told you to do that. So this isn't anything you're doing on your own or whatever.
Right.
So your money is good. There's nothing that can be done to you.
You've done everything possible to go ahead and
you've done what they've asked of you. So if anything does go awry, there's nothing that they can, well, you did this. No, I did what you told me to do.
Right.
So is there a reason that a player could say, I want to go against team doctors? I want to go against this medical advice?
The only thing that really is known is the fact that every player has the right to go get a second opinion. Like they have that right in their contract, is that every player can go and get a second opinion and compare it and contrast it to whatever the team doctor says. So I'm assuming that somewhere along the line, whether the second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, whatever, somebody told them that, well, you don't really need surgery. You just need to go ahead and go through this rehab process and you'll be fine. And he'd rather do that than go under the knife. And I get it. I mean, I wouldn't want to have surgery either if I felt like I didn't have to. I would, hey, I can just rehab it and I'll be good to go. I think the biggest concern for the team was if he rehabs it, how quickly can he re-injure it, right? That's what I think was. And again, this is just kind of us spitballing around the water cooler because there's not a whole lot of clarity. And the team is going to be very careful with what they say and what they don't say, because now that they are in this grievance type situation with Christian Wilkins, and there's going to be lawyers involved. So now it's like everything that's going to be said is going to be said, and it's going to be used either against them or for them. And the one thing that stood out to me yesterday is when Pete Carroll talked to us following practice. Obviously Christian Wilkins was going to be the first question asked. He said, look, we didn't see a point where he was going to, when he was actually going to be able to return. He's not out here and available, so we decided to move on. So they didn't see an end in sight. If they had a goal line, if there was like, okay, we think he'll be ready week 3 or he'll be ready in week 4, and this is why we have that evidence, I think that they would have been good with that. But since they didn't really see a clear path and when he'd be ready, I think that's when they just said, okay, look, this is taking too long. This is an injury that happened week 5, and he should be ready to go at this stage of the game, and he's not. So, again, it's disappointing. I think Christian Wilkins was a really good dude. I think he's a good player from my interactions with him. He was, A1. I don't think there was any issues with him at all. I think there was a lot of respect that he had in the building. But once he started going against what the team said as far as how they wanted him to rehab, I think that's where the relationship started to get fractured. So I don't have any ill will towards him. I don't look at this as like a Antonio Brown type situation. But it's just unfortunate for the Raiders that it seems like every time they get someone that everyone's excited and fired up about, something goes wrong. And it's, 3 years in a row. Chandler Jones in 2023, Devontae Adams in 2024, and now Christian Wilkins in 2025. So there you go.
Q, we were just saying it before you got on here. I mean, I have a Devontae jersey collecting dust in the closet as we speak. But either way, we were just saying before we got on here, I think we got to build it through the draft at this point, man. We got to be restricted from going on free agency or trades or anything because of the way it's been over the years. I mean, you go back to Corey Littleton and all these guys over the years.
Yeah. Yep.
And these are different regimes. These aren't even the same regimes, and it's still happening. I don't understand. But Jay, I mean, what you got for him, man?
Yeah. So, and this is kind of speaks into kind of the next part. Is who'll be the next man to step up at DT, right? Could Jonah Lualu be that guy? And
I like him a lot.
Solid year.
Him a lot,
yeah,
man.
That was going to be our next question. Yeah.
I like him a lot.
How has he looked? I mean, no pads have been on, so
right.
we understand
pads will go on Monday, so that'll be when we start to learn a lot. But I like Jonah a lot, man. He's the guy, and Max said it on Wednesday. He said this guy is good, and he doesn't even know how good he could be, right? And so when you got your leader in Max Crosby saying that, I think that carries some weight. So yeah, he has an opportunity to be really good. He's got a great story. He's a guy from the Vegas area, went to high school here in the Vegas area, went away to Oklahoma and came back. So, he's got an opportunity to play in front of his, hometown friends and family. So he's excited. I got a chance to catch up with him after practice on Thursday, and he's just a real deal dude, man. He's excited. Adam Butler, obviously they re-signed him. So he's going to be a guy that's going to probably get the fair share of the heavy lifting off top. I think it'll be him and Jonah. You'll see those two guys going at, and then look, they went and they drafted JJ Pegues. They got him. They went and got the Tonka truck.
I'm excited for him, yeah.
Right? I mean, so it's not like they didn't realize what was going on and that they needed to add some depth. The defensive tackle room is really deep. So that to me is, I think that's going to be a fun, even I don't want to say camp battle, but just to see how that position evolves. And then let's not forget Tyree Wilson is getting snaps on the inside too. And I know he hasn't been the guy that he was supposed to be when they drafted him number 7 overall a couple seasons ago, a couple snaps ago. I get that. But I mean, if he can get some reps inside as well, then, all of a sudden now you have so many different guys at that position. You can kind of rotate more bodies. And like I said, they picked up a young man off waivers on yesterday that came from the University of Texas and was in Tennessee Titans organization not too long ago. So I just think that there's guys that are going to be able to fill the void of a guy that really the Raiders never really had. I mean, it's great to see a guy that you had, but you didn't really have him. I mean, it was literally 5 games. So they figured it out last year without him. They'll figure it out again without him.
Yeah. So that was going to be kind of our next question, of course. Like with Lualu, it's his year. It's second year, right? This is his second year.
Second year. Yeah.
Okay. So beautiful. He got a lot of reps last year, of course, because of the injuries and everything like that. So he's coming in good this year. But we've always said the anomaly of the whole D line, regardless if Wilkins plays or not. We all know it's Tyree Wilson. We all know what time it is because this is make or break. This is the year where teams figure out. It's your 3rd year. Are you making the leap? 5th year, contract options and all these things go into it. So, I mean, I hate asking these questions with no pads, especially with D linemen. But looking at him this year, what does it look like so far? Do you see any quickness? Do you see any improvements in the body structure? I mean, what does he look like so far to you with your eyes?
I think the biggest thing for Tyree is just going to be consistency because you see flashes. We all see flashes of, hey, there he is. There's the guy that they expected to see, but he just hasn't been consistent. But he's out there working. That's one thing I can say. I've seen him every day. He's working his tail off. He's asking questions when he's not in. He's talking to guys like Max. He's in the ear of the defensive line coach, Robbie Leonard. I mean, he's doing all the right things. And he said it back in mandatory minicamp. He told us, this is a big year for me. I get that. And then Max told us on Wednesday that, hey, Tyree's getting snaps inside. And then it seemed like he tried to clean it up. And he's like, well, he got snaps inside, the last couple of years too. But I think he's going to have a bigger emphasis on the even on the interior this year. So I think that he's got to, continue to match, like, because he's big and he's strong. But you mentioned quickness, and the quickness hasn't always followed that, right? I mean, it just seems like he's been off the snap a little slower than he needs to. So I want to see how that continues to evolve. And like I said, Monday when the pads go on, you'll start to understand who this guy could be. But I mean, from what I've seen so far, there was a couple plays that they would have been sacks, and he would have got those from the interior. So he's doing what he needs to do, but without pads for the offensive line or even the defensive line, it's really hard to tell exactly how they could be. I mean, everyone's really good when there's no pads on and you don't think that you're going to get hit or you're going to get put on your backside. So this is when it's going to get real coming up on Monday. And I'm looking forward to it. Tomorrow's the last acclimation day. And so then they'll get ready to go on Monday. And that's when it gets real. As a matter of fact, they've got 2 padded practices back to back, Monday and Tuesday. And then they have an off day on Wednesday. So we should learn a lot by Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Football nerd question. Does it look like he's working his hands at least? Because that's my biggest thing with him.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the power is there. You know,
Right.
we all know that. But it's like, you know, after the bull, we got to learn, you know, what's the next move? What are we doing
Right.
after that? Does it look like he's working his hands at least, trying to get better
He's
there?
doing it. He's doing
Okay.
it. Everything for him always goes back to the C word, man. It always goes back to consistency.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's just what it is. I mean, the thing with Tyree is I think he just thinks about it too much. I think that when he's out there on the line, he's just he's thinking about what he needs to do instead of just boom, just go, just have that natural reaction. When that ball snap, go. Right. And to me, I feel like he's thinking about what I got to take this step. Okay, my assignment's this, or I got, you know what I mean? Like instead of just having that natural go. When he was in the Big 12, when he was at Texas Tech, he was big man on campus. He was the big dog. So when that ball was snapped, he just went boom, he went nuts, right? Because he knew couldn't nobody stop him. He could do one move and go right through him if he wanted to. The NFL's different, right? So he's just got to stop thinking, man. You just got to go out and do it. Don't think about it, just be about it. And I think that's going to be his biggest thing. If he can figure out how to do that, get out of his own head, I think he'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I agree 100% that it's just he's in his own head space. And I think he just needs to go ahead and take a step back and just let the game kind of come to him and flow.
And really, and he's not really big enough to be a defensive tackle all the time, but he could be that guy that you could put in that NASCAR package that the Giants made famous, so many years ago. That's where I think that he'll play that. Just not like he's going to do it all the time because he's definitely not. He doesn't have the big enough frame as far as the weight on him to be able to do that.
Yeah, 100%. You got any questions? I got questions, Jay, but I want to take up the whole thing now.
No, you're good. I mean, yeah, it'd just be interesting to see. I think we'll be able to make a better assessment come next week. Where exactly he would fit a little bit better. It could be there's rumblings. It could be the interior. He could fit a little bit better there and have a better season potentially in that position. Again, he's not your typical tackle. He's on the smaller side. Right. There's people that saying that he should kind of gain maybe 20 pounds of lean muscle to be kind of filling.
That is not easy to do. I hate
and that's a very difficult thing to do.
It's hard to do that and then keep your quickness. And then when you're talking about a guy that doesn't necessarily have the quickness, that's really a dangerous game to play. Then you're slowing him down even more. So there's a lot to that. That's why I think that if you see him in the interior, which you're going to see him a little bit, then it's just going to be kind of in that NASCAR package.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
now I kind of have 2 questions bouncing forth from defense and offense, but start with defense because this has been a big topic surrounding this show, some other shows, and just in the nation. The cornerbacks, right? Yeah. The cornerbacks are kind of a question mark. We kind of don't know like what's going on there. Like we hear good things about Darian Porter and all these things, but we really don't know who's going to start. To be honest, it's still up in the air. A lot of people love Ja'Cory Bennett because of last year, and we brought in Eric Stokes and things of that nature. What's going on there? Is there a reason that it's kind of, it's still in flux? Is anybody kind of separating themselves a little bit or anything like that?
I don't think anyone's separated themselves yet, but one note is that, Eric Stokes and Darian Porter have been the starters since OTAs. They've been the outside corner since OTAs, right? Mandatory minicamp, they were the guys on the outside. Since training camp was opened up, they've been the guys on the outside. They fit what Pete Carroll does. They fit with a lengthy Seattle Seahawk type cornerback. They fit the exact mold. Ja'Cory Bennett, he's a little shorter. He's not that guy that fits in with what the Legion of Boom was doing in Seattle. That doesn't mean Ja'Cory Bennett can't play, but he's been running with the twos, right? I think JB is a hell of a corner. His biggest thing is health. Can he stay healthy, right? I mean, he was having a great year last year, and then he had to shut it down because of the torn labrum and, the fact that his shoulder was popping out like 3 or 4 times a game, and he had to leave the field and get it popped back in. So he finally just shut it down and had the surgery. It's going to be all about what he can prove. He's going to have to prove himself. DeCam Richardson's going to have to prove himself. Like the thing about it is they've got guys, but who's going to be the ones to step up and play the role and be the, identify themselves as the starting corners? I think it's going to be Stokes and Porter, Like if I just had to guess, it would be Stokes and Porter that are going to get the first crack at being the starting cornerbacks. But when you're only 3 days into training camp and you haven't put the pads on yet, you can't. I wouldn't put that in red ink. I would put that in pencil with a big eraser because things can be moved around. And that's the thing about Pete Carroll. Like if you want to learn about him, go back and see what he did his first year in Seattle when he was there. There was like 300 roster moves that they made. Right. I mean, they had so many changes to the roster, whether you're the starter, then you're the backup, then you're the third string, then you're back to the starter. Like there was so many different things you do. No, you're never going to be really penciled in red unless your name is Max Crosby. Right. I mean, that guy, he's penciled in red. You ain't got to worry about that. Or he's put in there in red ink. So he's good. But everyone else, it's like you're going to earn your spot. You're going to earn what you get. And, you can be, a guy that looks good on one day, and then all of a sudden you have a bad week of practice, and now you're not starting, right? I mean, that it can be just as easy as that. So these guys are out there. They're working really hard. I can tell you that. They had a very hard offseason earlier with the OTAs and mandatory minicamp to the point where guys like Jacoby Myers and Max Crosby, they told me on Wednesday and Thursday that, we worked so hard in OTAs and mandatory minicamp that this didn't feel like the first couple of days of camp. It just feels like we basically picked up where we left off.
That's beautiful.
Exactly. So Pete Carroll said he wanted this to be the hardest training camp that they've ever had, and they are doing exactly that. I mean, they are working their tails off. That's for sure. So, we'll see how it all comes together. It's early, no pads, no preseason games yet, but wherever these guys like slide in, it's because that's what they earned or that's what they didn't earn. That's the only way to get it with Pete Carroll. And he said so many times, even yesterday, I'm not afraid to play young players. I'm not afraid to play young players. I've played freshmen in college. I've played rookies in the NFL. If you earn it, you're going to earn it, and you'll be out there. It's just that simple. So nothing is off the table.
Yeah. And people get mad at us, Q, because we come out here and we say, when it comes to Pete, we know competition is a factor. Everybody has to compete unless your name is probably Max Crosby, like you said. Brock Bowers, probably you don't have to do certain things, right?
Only
like
select few that have that.
But you get mad when it's your certain favorite player has to compete all of a sudden. It's like we can't. Everybody has to hold the same standard. You know what I mean? I think fans get confused because Bennett had a good year last year, but then that was with a totally different coaching staff and regime. I don't like Pete doesn't know Jacorian or anything like that. No disrespect or anything, but
that's
I didn't bring you in. So that's different.
Well, that's the biggest issue. And it's a great example is when you look at a guy like Colton Miller, you look at a guy like Daniel Carlson, you look at a guy like Jacoby Myers. Those guys are all guys that want contract extensions. Those guys are all in the last year of their deal. Now we know what Daniel Carlson does. I mean, you could turn on the film and see what he does, but this staff doesn't know that. Right. I mean, they know what he did by just looking at the stats and looking at the film, but they don't know his worth because they're new. Right. They don't know Colton Miller's worth. This is a guy that's never made a Pro Bowl. But, we know because we've seen him. We know, okay, hey, this is what Colton does. And when he's healthy, he's a real solid left tackle. You want to have him. But they don't know that. So they're waiting. And don't forget, John Spytek, he comes from the Jason Light tree there in Tampa Bay. If you go back and look at what Tampa Bay has done with all their free agents, they make them wait. They don't give them money early. They don't sit here and say, hey, okay, we're going to do this because, well, you've done this for the organization. They expect you to go out there and bust your tail, and then they're going to pay you. Like they'll pay you later. So, when everyone's talking about pounding the table, pay Colton now, pay Jacoby Myers, extend these guys. They're going to make them go out there and prove it. Now, I think that all those guys that I mentioned are worthy of contract extensions. I think that they are going to go out there and prove it. But when you got new turnover, you got new staff every single year, it's basically like you have to reintroduce yourself, right? It's like
there you go.
If I had a new boss every year at the radio station, I'd have to go back and tell them like, hey, my name is Q Meyers. This is what I do. And they can hear about me, but until they actually see my everyday, this is what he does. This is when he gets into work. This is what this is what he's putting in. This is how long he stays afterward. This is the value he brings to this company. They don't know. So that's what is going on right now. And that's why these guys, it's easy to extend Max, right? It's easy. Max. You understand, okay, hey, that's a guy that we need. We need to build around him. Adam Butler, all right, you can extend him because, well, one, you have a question at the defensive tackle position, and he did a hell of a job last year filling in, and he's a veteran, has been in the league. No, okay, we know this guy. Cool. We know what he's going to bring to the table, right? And then there's guys like young guys like Isaiah Palomao. They give him a contract extension. This dude's been in the league 4 years, and really, when he was thrown into the mix last year, he was able to step up and play at a high level, but he's young. Okay, cool. We believe that he could be a big time playmaker at the back end of this defense. So we're going to make sure that we hold on to him. And then you have Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator. You could also bounce ideas off him. Hey, who do you need to have? Who to make this defense go? Who out of the guys that are here that we are maybe making decisions on, who do you have to have? Well, Max, I got to have Butler. I got to have Isaiah. I got to have, I got to have these guys for sure. I need to bring Kuntz back because I got good plans for him. Okay, cool. Let's do it. And that makes it easier. But these other guys, man, they really got to prove themselves.
Yeah. And that's where it's at. You got anything, Jay, real quick?
I mean, I think you're hitting the nail on the head right there. For me, as far as just going back to the corners, I mean, for me, I think it's going to be Eric Stokes and then Darren Porter. But it's kind of like a 1A 1B type of situation. And I only give the edge to Eric Stokes because he's been here longer. He's more of that veteran. He has that experience. That's the only reason. But Pete and Spytek are very high on him. That is a lot of the reason why we didn't go out and get a big name corner this offseason. A big thing. We were talking about Jalen Ramsey a few months ago. We didn't pursue that one. Why? Because they were high on Darian Porter. They believe he's the next guy to really lead this corner room for sure. But I do hope that they extend Colton. I think with Colton, it's just they really want to see how that shoulder is really working, if it's 100% or close to 100%. And that's going to be more determined as we get closer to the start of the season.
Plus, right? The other thing is, does he fit in the scheme, right? That's the other thing that people have to remember is that this is, Brennan Carroll is the offensive line coach now, and they're going to run a scheme where Chip Kelly could run a bunch of different plays. Like I was talking with Lincoln Kennedy, who I respect a lot, and obviously longtime Raider offensive lineman. When he was out at mandatory minicamp, I said, Link, what are you looking at? And he said, well, I want to see how they block certain run plays. So he was telling me that the interior plays, the inside of in between the tackles was more of a man blocking. And then when they were running the outside runs, then they would do more zone blocking. Well, if you go back and look at Colton Miller, he's traditionally been a better man blocker than he's been a zone blocker. And really, honestly, when the Raiders run the zone blocking scheme, they're not really that good at it.
No, we're not.
Line has not really had a ton of success with
more of a power man scheme.
Yeah, they've been more of a power man scheme with the bigger guys, the guys that could just maul you. Well, in this system, and this is something to pay attention to in preseason because they have to try to find these guys and get them all together. You'll see they're a little bit more trimmed up. They're a little bit more athletic. They're able to get out in space a little bit quicker. Even JPJ shed about 15 pounds over the offseason, right? And just to get in better shape so he can, hit the outside better. So he can, he can do those outside zone. Look, they got so many plans for Ashton Genty, but it ain't going to work if that offensive line isn't on point. So they're going to have between the tackle runs, they're going to have the power scheme, the man blocks, but they also are going to have the sign of the zone blocking scheme as well. So they've got to be able to do both. So that's another reason why maybe you don't extend him right now, because you want to see, can he pick that up, right? And then you've got a guy like Thayer Munford that I think that they're still high on, but every time he gets an opportunity, it seems like he gets banged up. I think he's going to play a role anywhere. Like he could play tackle, he could play guard. For me, the guard positions are really the ones I'm looking at. I think Alex Kappa is going to earn the right guard spot. I think that they're high on him. They know him very well when they were in Tampa Bay. So they at least they know what he brings to the table. But, what do you do? Is Dylan Parham going to earn a spot? Is Jordan Meredith going to earn a spot? Like, who's going to get that left guard spot, right? Is one of the rookies, going to get the earn a spot? Like, there's so many guys that they're trying to mix and match and see what fits right now. Even the other day, and this is what I really respect about this staff as well, is they're trying to set this team up for like a game day type of situation. So the other day they had JPJ snapping the ball to Aiden O'Connell. So he was running with the twos, and Jordan Meredith was running with the ones, and he was snapping the ball to Gino. And so that all caught our attention. We're like, wait, hold on, what's going on in this situation? What they're doing is they're putting in a scenario. What if Gino goes down in the game?
Right.
Gino goes down and Aiden O'Connell's got to go in. So now you've got to have JPJ more familiar with Aiden O'Connell, being able to be comfortable so he can just slide in there, boom, take that thing, and vice versa. What if JPJ goes down in the game? Who's going to slide into center position and take his spot and snap it to Gino? So they're you know what I mean? They're trying to create scenarios, and
I love that.
You know, I would maybe question it if it was someone who didn't have experience and a proven track record. But since Pete Carroll has been there, done that, then to me, it's like, oh, yeah, it makes all the sense of the world because he knows what he's doing. He's setting them up. So
this is what he's done. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's what kind of the theme has been so far. I know it's only a couple days into camp, but that's kind of what they're doing. It's almost like they're preparing for the New England Patriots week 1, and it's still July. It's pretty
but see,
wild.
We haven't had a coaching staff like that, in my opinion, in a while, where now, you know, and I always equate it to the Chiefs because, hey, everybody's trying to catch the Chiefs and they're in our division. But I feel like there's a coaching staff in a while where now we can go into Arrowhead. I feel confident that we're not severely outcoached. At any point, I feel like now we can go in there and we can match up pretty well. But a question that I do have for you that a lot of people in the nation, either, you know, we talk about it or I talk about it too. Dylan Parham is a question mark, I think, for me personally and a lot of fans because, you know, we're year 4, I believe. Are we in year 4?
Last year's deal. Last year Mumford's deal. Yep.
And every year of that, he's played a different position. I mean, he came in right guard, left guard. Right? I mean, at first when he got drafted, we said center. Yeah, we were talking about center, and we haven't locked it down right now. Now, hearing you talk about it's a little more lean and trim and zone in the inside, that works a little better for him because if we're talking about power, I don't think that's his strong suit.
That's no, it's not.
But what does it look like in the interior? Does anybody have an inside track? I mean, two-parter. Meredith, I thought looked good last year at right guard. I thought he looked pretty well. Yeah. And now it just seems like they're saying, well, no, we're not going to do you there. We're not going to put you there. It's Kappa now. You know, and Kappa just looks like he just has the spot. Is there a reason for that? I mean, what's going on there in the interior?
What is he in Kappa?
Well, I mean, Kappa goes back to Tampa Bay with Spytech, right? Kappa goes back to Tampa Bay with Spytech. He goes back to Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. I mean, he's got those connections right there, so they know what he can do. He was a disaster in Cincinnati, though. He didn't look good at all. He's not going to blame it on injuries. He's going to say that it just was a bad season, bad fit for him. So we'll see. But I feel like that he kind of has the inside track to that right guard spot. And really the only spot that might be really truly open is that left guard spot. And I'll tell you, I think that Dylan Parham's got his work cut out for him. I mean, and this is not something that someone told me like, hey, man, he's on the chopping block, but he's going into the last year of his deal. We've seen that he's had moments where he's looked good and then he's been inconsistent, moments where he looks like he's just overmatched. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what's in the cards for Dylan Parham. I know that Jordan Meredith, to your point, looked really good last year. They've had him, like I said, at center. They had him working at center, but they also had him working at the left guard spot. So he can hold that spot down. Again, you've got other guys like Rodgers who they drafted that they can put in that spot. And I would not hesitate to say that Thayer Munford could have something to say about that left guard spot as well. I know that it sounds kind of wild because he seems more of a tackle and he's played multiple tackle positions for the Raiders, but he's been in there at that left guard spot a few times, and that could all of a sudden become really a nasty offensive line. Maybe he just needs someone to be on the outside of him at that tackle spot to really, make him even that much better. So I wouldn't rule him out, but that's, I think, a area of competition. And then I forget his name, but they just brought in a guy as well that worked with Chip Kelly when he was at UCLA.
It was Mafi?
Yeah, Antonio Mafi. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Antonio Mafi was at UCLA. Well, he was at UCLA with Chip Kelly. Right. And so he could also be a guy who factors into this conversation. I think that he's just there for depth, but familiarity, you know how that goes. If you're familiar with the guy and you know exactly what that guy expects, and if Chip Kelly says, I know what we're going to get out of him, he could end up stealing a spot. So I think the guy that's got the most pressure on him in camp on the offensive line is definitely Dylan Parham, because I think he's fighting for a roster spot.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
That gets me.
I agree 100%. He's probably a guy that's on the bubble, and may or may not make this roster by the end of August. So we'll see. I honestly think within that left guard position, it could be Meredith. I do like him there.
I like Meredith.
Or Munford. Yeah, or Munford. Dark horse will probably be Caleb Rogers. That might get some reps. They like him. And it'll be interesting. Maybe he makes more of an appearance later on.
And the other thing about Parham, real quick, is he gets banged up too.
That's the problem.
He's injured.
But that's my problem with Mumford as well. Like Mumford, it's like I want him to start, but then it's like he's gonna be
Glaze got in last year. DJ Glaze only got in because Mumford went down in training camp. We were there at Costa Mesa, and he went down, and then DJ Glaze went in and did okay against Max, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's DJ Glaze's spot. Now, I'll tell you, Friday, Max Crosby ate DJ Glaze for lunch. I mean, he stole his lunch money, right? And that's Max. I mean, you're going up against Max Crosby, right? He's going to dominate. But man, and I even asked Glaze after practice about it. Say, how is it going up against Max every day? And he goes, well, he's going to make me better, which is true. He's going to make him better.
Yes,
and he that was not a good day for DJ Glaze on Friday. I'll tell you that when it came to practice. Max just annihilated him. So
get out your system now, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out your system now. Let me ask you this question, because this is one it's been heavy. You know, I find myself as a running back connoisseur, right? So we have some that we drafted this year, right? A lot of people love it. But I get flack for saying that I think that there's going to be certain things that Mostert is going to do this year.
Mostert on the
because he's a rookie. You know, Genty's he's coming from everybody's a rookie. When you come from college, you have to learn how to go against adult grown men. I mean, they're simple and plain and fact. So I just think that there are certain things that Mostert is probably going to do this year. I mean, you didn't bring Mostert in to count blades of grass. I mean, he came here to do stuff. So at the end of the day, what's his role look like? What does Mostert's role look like right now? Is he getting some carries on third down? Like, what's the deal with him coming in to spell Genty?
Yeah, that's a 1-2 punch right there. I think it's Genty and Mostert, no doubt. I mean, this guy, when healthy, is a touchdown machine, right? I mean, this guy, and he's still got wheels. And remember, you want to talk about familiarity. He goes back with Chip Kelly in multiple locations, right? I mean, he was just talking about that yesterday. He's like, I give Chip Kelly, a bad time for letting me go. And I think that was San Francisco they let him go, or one of the places that he let him go. And he's like, that's my guy. And Chip's offense is very creative. And I think that Mostert's going to have a big role with this team. I absolutely do. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to have an opportunity to spell Genty. He's also going to be a guy that around the goal line is going to get the ball instead of Genty. When all eyes are on Ashton, they're going to find a way to get it to Mostert too and get him in the end zone. He is a touchdown machine. I mean, that's the one thing about it. He knows how to do that really well. And so he's excited about the opportunity. He knows what, Chip Kelly expects from the running back position, how his offense goes. They were talking about the offense. He said it yesterday. He said, man, I know nobody really understands this, and it's only a couple days into practice, and we don't have any pads on. This offense is going to be special. Like that was Raheem Mostert saying that this is going to be a special offense. They have the ability, and Chip Kelly with the play calling and the people that are in place, we have the ability to be a really good offense. Obviously, they got to put it all together. So, until you see it, you don't really believe it. But just hearing a player that's been there and done that and played under Chip Kelly, he knows what to expect. I'm going to take his word for, okay, they have a chance to be something. But, yeah, he's really got a chance to be a big, number 2 guy in the running back room. The big question is going to be Sincere McCormick and Zamir White, right? I don't think it's both. I think it's either or. So who's going to earn that extra spot? Zamir, he leaned up a little bit. I thought he got too big last year when he was in the offseason, knowing that he was going to have that number 1 running back role, and he put on a lot of muscle, and it looked great, but it didn't translate on the field. And then, of course, the offensive line wasn't there. The scheme they were running wasn't good. The offensive play caller wasn't. There was a lot of not good. So Zamir White was in a bad situation last year and didn't do a whole lot. So now okay, is he going to be that guy? He looks like he's quick again. But Sincere McCormick, who is healthy again, looks really quick too. Which one of those guys can be healthier longer? Which one of those guys could be a bigger factor? And how much of a factor would they really be, right? I mean, because how much are you not going to have Genty or Mostert on the field? So those are kind of the questions that I have when it comes to that running back room.
That's the thing. And with Genty, I mean, his role is it right now the way it looks. I know they're saying in the passing game, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear from him. But me personally, I feel like there's certain things he might have to learn as far as the blocking scheme goes. I mean, what does that look like as far, because there's no pads? I mean, so we don't even know what it looks like. But so far, I mean, how does that look? And I know, I mean, they want him to go in on those passing downs, but are they looking like for example, Derrick Henry type, where it's like he's in there all the time and Mostert kind of spells him a little bit, or it's more of like you see like a plan, like how Chip Kelly kind of instituted last year with his running backs, where I know I have 2 different skill sets, so I'm gonna instill them in different ways. Kind of how is it going?
Yeah, Genty's going to be the workhorse for sure. That's why I'm interested to see, how this running back room goes, because you have to imagine Genty's going to get the majority of the work. He's obviously got to continue to work on the blocking. I mean, that's not something that Boise State asked him to do a lot because he did all the offense, right? He was the offense there at Boise State. So he can catch the ball in the backfield. They've been throwing him the rock quite a bit. So they definitely want to get him involved there. He's going to have to do better when it comes to his blocking. That could get him off the field early. Is just, just because he's not a polished blocker yet. Not saying he can't do it, but, on those third down, money downs, you want to make sure you have a guy who's going to be able to be that last line of defense for your quarterback. So I could see him maybe being spelled a little bit early there, but, I mean, it's going to be the Ashton Genty show. You're going to get a heavy dose of Ashton in the passing game. You're going to get a heavy dose of Ashton in the running game. And then you're going to get a heavy dose of Brock Bowers as well. Right. So, I mean, those are the two guys. And then, Mostert will come in. He'll spell them. He'll be in there for a few and, probably by the goal line as well. And, and then, like I said, then what do you do with Sincere McCormick and Zamir White? What kind of role do they play? How do they play? Are they able to make a difference on special teams? We'll find out. And that's the other thing. Ashton Genty at practice so far back there returning punts. Right. And so maybe
there was a little clip of that.
Maybe they put him they put him back there a couple times to return punts or some kickoffs. I doubt it. I don't think that they're going to want to put him out there in harm's way, but he's getting some practice. So maybe in a game
he's athletic enough to do it.
Exactly. Where I'm at. Maybe in a game where they need a big play or big explosive play, they're like, you know what, let him go back there and get it and see what he can do. Just different ideas, just throwing it out there that there's different ways to use this guy. And he's versatile. He's a football player. He loves to play the game. And you can just see it out there in practice so far.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I don't know how much time we got left. I'm going to ask this question for my boy, Jay, because I know he worried about it. I know what time we talked about it, Jay. What's going on with Jack Bech, Q? What's the deal?
Yeah,
man?
we haven't heard much. It's been a little bit quiet this off season.
He's running with the twos right now. He's fine. He's in a good place. I think that everyone talks about Dante Thornton just because he is a guy that they have him in there with the ones, and he's also a guy that can stretch the field, kind of play that DK Metcalf role. So I think that because you expect Dante Thornton to have big plays is why a lot of people are looking at him. But I think Bech is going to be fine. Bech is, he's a guy who's going to be a possession guy. He's a tough dude. He can block. I mean, I think that's going to be a big factor is that he can block really well. I think you have guys like Jacoby, you have Big Mike, you have Bech. Those guys could block really well. So that's going to help out in the running game. That's going to help out in the wide receiver screen game. I mean, that's going to help out in a lot. And, just being able to have the ability to have willing blockers from the wide receiver position. Thornton's got to continue to, I guess, define his not route running, but just kind of the wide receiver position. Like he's got to learn how to play NFL wide receiver. Let's put it like that. That's the best way to put it. Like there was an interception the other day. Isaiah Palomar came up with the interception because Dante Thornton didn't come back to the ball. He didn't attack the ball. He waited for it to come into his body and catch the ball. And I gave Isaiah enough time to, boom, split the gap and get the interception, get his feet inbounds because he waited for it. Then there was a play where Gino threw a deep ball to Dante, and I guess he didn't think when the ball was snapped that he was going to get the ball because he wasn't going full speed. And then all of a sudden he looked up and realized that the ball was coming his way, and he tried to boom, 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 get on his horse. By that time, it sailed over his head. It looked like to the naked eye, oh, Gino just overthrew him. When really Dante didn't run full throttle coming out of the break and the snap. And so if he had done that, he probably would have been hit right in stride. So he's just got to realize that Tennessee, right, in that Josh Heupel-led offense, a lot of times they would say, okay, look, we're throwing it to red, we're throwing it to green, we're throwing it to orange. Like it was very simplistic. So guys knew, hey, this ball's not coming my way on this route. I don't have to get after it. Well, in the NFL, you might be option number 3, but you might be the one that Gino at the line of scrimmage identifies as, oh, wait, he's got the matchup. I'm going for him. He's not actually the first read, but he's going to have the best one. I could see it at the line of scrimmage. Boom, I'm going to hit it to him. He's got to know that he's available. Anytime he's out there, he could be a target.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then kind of sticking with that on the Gino topic, Gino's chemistry with the offense, is it unfolding? As you talked about it right now with Dante Thornton not being ready for those balls, just getting that chemistry going with like Brock Bowers, Jacoby Meyers. They've had last I don't know, was it 3-4 months now to go ahead and really get things going, and now into training camp when we start putting the pads on, how is that chemistry really coming together? This week we heard some successes, a little bit of setback, as given, and this is a time where you can go ahead and make those mistakes or get that timing together.
Yeah.
What are you seeing out there currently with Gino and the chemistry with the offense?
I mean, he's got command of it, right? He has command. The team is excited about him. Like every wide receiver, whether it's Jacoby Myers, whether it's Besh, whether it's Thornton, all the wide receivers out there, Brock Bowers at the tight end position, Big Mike, they are all singing his praises about, how nice of a ball he throws. And, but there's been some mistakes, right? There's been some times where, he's been picked off, and you want him to have some interceptions in July, right? You rather have him have interceptions in July than have him in September and October and November,
Yes.
And so on and so forth.
That's a fact.
Right? So he's going to do the. There's times when Gino just believes that Gino can make that throw, right? And there's going to be times that, we're going to look up, we're going to see a play, and we're going to say, oh, we shouldn't have thrown that one. But, it happens, right? There was a interception that happened. Matter of fact, Lonnie Johnson Jr. picked off a pass on was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. And I mean, it was a pick six, right? It was just as soon as Gino went to throw the ball, all of us on the sideline were like, uh-oh, right? Because you could just tell that Lonnie was already breaking. Gino had made up in his mind where he was going with the ball, and it was just a bad read. Okay, it happens, but he's been the guy, right? He's been very comfortable. I think Aiden has looked good as well. I think he's a really good backup. He's looked the part. He still has the same issues that he had 2 years ago when he joined the team, and that's just that he still stares down the wide receiver. He just gets locked in, and he'll stay there, and then that tips the hand to the defender where the ball's going. That's still the thing he does. But you could tell he's been working. You can see that his arm strength is clearly still there. Right, he's trying to be a little bit more mobile, trying to move the pocket a little bit, but he's never going to be a guy that you're going to look at and say, oh yeah, he's fleet-footed and he's going to be able to pick up 3rd and 8. He's just not that guy. But I think he's a really good backup. And honestly, and this has been my concern, I know some of Raider Nation took it the wrong way, but if there's a big injury, and the Jets had a scare the other day with Justin Fields, there's a big injury. I wouldn't be surprised if a team looks and says, man, maybe we can go get that guy. He's got starting experience. He's won games. He's in the last year of his deal, or the second to last year of his deal. He's going into year 3, so he's in the second to the last year of his deal. Maybe they would be willing to move him. Again, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just, if a team has an injury or something, maybe they look around the league and say, okay, who's available? They look at probably Kirk Cousins first. He's available there in Atlanta, but there's not too many places where they have real depth. Maybe Jameis Winston in New York, they say, okay, maybe he'll be a guy that, they can go and break glass if in case of emergency. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone said to Aiden O'Connell, just in case a guy went down and they needed somebody. But right now he looks like he's a really good backup for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think people just aren't used to – I mean, we haven't had a quarterback with this type of arm talent in a while. And I know that a lot of people haven't been to practice, but can you kind of allude to how different it looks? I mean, over the past 2 years, I don't even think it's comparable, the quarterback talent that we have now over the past couple years that we've been enduring. So, I mean, I think it's way different. But, I mean, off the eye test, is it definitely how everybody's saying, like as far as Gino and his accuracy and
yeah, the accuracy's there for sure. The accuracy's there. It's good to see good, competent quarterback play, because even last year, going back to training camp, we all kept waiting to see who's going to take over as the QB1, like who's going to show that I'm the guy. And I think we all expected Aiden O'Connell to win that quarterback battle, but nobody did. It was one of those where neither one of them looked very good. And I guess now looking back at it, it probably was more of a Luke Getsy thing than it was an Aiden O'Connell thing. But, it seemed like nobody ever picked up what they were supposed to be doing. Like they had good moments, they had good plays, but they never really stacked good days. And so it was really odd to see that. This year, it feels like that there's a lot better quarterback play. I think a lot of that has to do with, well, one, they got Geno Smith in there. Aiden O'Connell, I do think, is a good, competent quarterback. Chip Kelly being offensive coordinator, I think that helps. And I think Greg Olsen being the quarterback coach, he's been a quarterback coach in the league for a long, long time now, right? And he's been with the Rams. He's been with Gruden a couple times. He's been, with Pete Carroll in Seattle. I mean, he's been around, and he's been a really good quarterback coach. So I think that also helps, is that he's there and he makes the transition a little bit easier. The big question is Cam Miller. right? The 6th round pick, the FCS quarterback, just to see how quickly he can pick up, the offense or what, it's hard, man, for a 3rd string quarterback to even get reps, because you're not really getting too much except for, the last reps really kind of in practice and, scout team here, scout team there. So when the regular season hits, he really is not going to get too many reps, but I'm just intrigued to see what they see in him and can his game from the FCS, can that evolve into, a potential NFL quarterback. So that's a fun storyline. Not that he's competing with anybody for a spot. He's just, he's just there. So when he's out there, I do like to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah. 100%. Oh, I think you muted, big dog. You muted.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think preseason is going to be the telltale sign on Cam Miller and what he can actually go ahead and bring to the table. But let me go ahead and kind of swing it back this way. Again, appreciate everyone pulling up with us on this Saturday morning. Salute to over 100 people in the building rocking with us on this Saturday morning with our guy Q. But we had some Raider signings this week. We did bring in a few guys. We brought in Jamal Adams, safety, JT Woods, corner, Antonio Mafia, we just talked about earlier, Philip Dorsett, Seth Williams, and Keondre Coburn that we picked up yesterday. I think the biggest thing here is Jamal Adams. He's getting reps at linebacker.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? You've been out there at camp. You've seen him now, kind of taking some reps at linebacker. What is your take on him?
It's so funny, man, with Jamal Adams. It's full circle. It's kind of what Max said the other day too, because Max remembers him when he was a high school football player back in Texas. So that's full circle for him. But for me, I remember, when he was available with the Jets, when everyone knew that they were going to trade him, I pounded every single table. I was like, man, the Raiders need to go get him. This dude's an alpha dog. This guy, he could do this, that, and the other. And I know he's not great in coverage, but I was like, man, he could be the dude. And obviously they didn't go make the move for him. Seattle did. And I mean, it worked out well that the Raiders didn't because of all the injuries that he suffered his first year in Seattle. Yeah. He was really good, right? He had 9.5 sacks his first year in Seattle. So that's a hell of a thing. But so now for them to go and get Jamal Adams and have a role for him, like John Spytek said on our radio show the other day, he said, look, we got a role. We got a role for Jamal Adams. We're not going to use him like a traditional safety. They're going to put him up there in the box. And now he's working out with the linebacker. So day one of him working, he was out there and he lined up in the slot on one play. And of course he blitzed the quarterback right off the snap. And this dude got there so quickly. Like he just, boom, just shot through that. I described it like a hot knife through butter, right? Just slid right through him and got to the quarterback. And we all looked at each other and said, now that's a difference maker right there. If he can be that guy, that you're all of a sudden now you're doing something, right? His biggest thing is going to be health. Then, the last couple of days we've seen him and he's been working with the linebackers and he's very physical. So, he's a short tackler. So you get him up there. Now all of a sudden you're looking at the linebacking room that you might have had some questions. And you got a Landon Roberts who's won a Super Bowl, right? You got Devin White. I talked to him yesterday. He's won a Super Bowl. He looks like he's got his legs under him. Jermaine Pratt is like a tackling machine from what he did last year in Cincinnati. And then you add Jamal Adams to it too and have like packages for him. Like there's a world where, 3, I guess, safeties, if you put them in air quote, are on the field at the same time. And, Chin and Palamau and also Adams, even though he's, like I said, working out with the linebackers and playing in the box. But Patrick Graham could all of a sudden get creative and have a bunch of short tacklers out there on the field as well. So, again, Jamal Adams has to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. Health has been his biggest. I mean, last year he played 5 games for 2 different teams total, right? I mean, so he wasn't that guy. But if he can be that guy, and once pads come on, if he's able to, go and be physical like he likes to do and stay healthy, the Raiders could have a steal. And obviously Pete Carroll knows how to use them because, again, going back to the first year he was in Seattle, he had 9.5 sacks. That would have led the Raiders in sacks last year, right? I mean, nobody had 9.5 sacks because Max went down after 12 games. So, I mean, think about that. That would have been the leader in the Raiders, defense as far as sacks last year, 9.5. That would have got it done. So I'm not saying he's going to do that. Right? Don't quote me.
That'd be nice. That would be nice.
Q said he's gonna get. No, I didn't say that. But he has the ability, and I think having the ability and having that kind of a guy on your squad that can only help your defense.
100%. I mean, what you said, that's what I was worried about because I needed to know the role because we're talking about traditional safety coverage that, like you said, it's not his strong point. So I was a little scared. But the fact that now he's linebacker. I like it way better. I mean, I love this linebacker core now. In short weeks, 3 weeks ago, I was sweating. I'm not even gonna lie.
We're
I was very
sweating,
worried.
yeah.
I was very worried about that linebacker core. Now, with the Pratt signing, you bring in Jamal Adams, kind of looking at what Devin White, can become in here.
Yes.
I like it. I like it a lot more. And I love the Orlando Roberts sign. I'm not gonna lie. So I love what this is looking like now.
That dude, just talking to him, he gets me fired up every time that we get to talk to him. No joke, I start my radio show every day with a quote from him. Every single day before I get going in the show, I say, before we get going, we got to hear from Landon Roberts. We got to, today's a big day. Why is today a big day? And he's like, every day matters, right? I'm not in the business of I wish I had done this. I'm in the business of now. And it was just, you can just hear the leadership in his voice. That dude gets me so fired up. I pulled him to the side just yesterday, and I was talking to him, and I was just telling him, I was like, with that kind of leadership skill that you have, how is that going to relate? And he's like, man, me and PG are like this. Like we're they're thick as thieves, and he's trying to pick Patrick Graham's brain, and Patrick Graham's trying to pick his brain. And he says, I could see what PG is calling or what he's going to lead up to. Like there's a play that Patrick Graham will call defensively. He'll call something, and then he'll say, well, do you want me to do this? And he's like, not yet. I know that you know it, but it's steps to this. So we're gonna work on this, get everyone comfortable with that. Then we're gonna add that wrinkle that you're talking about. But he sees the vision of PG, and a lot of questions about Robert Spillane when he joined the Raiders as the linebacker. It worked out really well. I think everyone's going to be very happy with Landon Roberts when you see him out there. That dude is all about his business. He's all about ball. He just loves it, man. If you ever want to get inspired and fired up, just go find a press conference that Landon Roberts is a part of and listen to him. That'll get you fired up, I promise you.
I'm a big fan of him.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, Jamal Adams coming to the Raiders, and it's all about him staying healthy, right? I think that was the question when he was brought in. I think I'm gonna go ahead and play something real quick. I can go ahead and kind of dispel some of those questions and concerns. This is.
I know he looks that quick out there.
Yeah, I mean that's how he's moving.
Beautiful. See?
Yeah, it's really good footwork.
Yep.
So now they got him doing stuff with the linebackers. I know it's a sparring role, right? It's not really a full-time role. He comes in every so often.
It's like packages and stuff. It's not something he's not going to be on the field the majority of the time, but there's going to be packages. This Raiders defense, it really does have a chance to be pretty special. One of the things that Lincoln points out to me all the time is that because there's so many guys that are young in this defense, he's interested to see how Patrick Graham kind of schemes it up to make it easier for them just to go play, right? Instead of thinking. But if you all of a sudden you have veterans like an Landon Roberts or a Jermaine Pratt or a Devin White, and then you have, Jamal Adams that you bring in here or there, all of a sudden those guys could be their own, leaders as well and could help make things easier on these guys. So I think that you're going to see a lot from this Raiders defense. I think you're going to see Patrick Graham get pretty creative. He likes to do the press man coverage, but he also has no problem with going zone. And I mean, there's a lot to like, I do think. And again, we haven't seen any pads yet. We'll see that coming up on Monday. So then we'll start to have a better idea. But I do think that they're going to have an opportunity to be a really good defense.
Oh man, I'm gonna put you on the spot before we get to our last segment, man. I've been asking people. I believe the offense is gonna be better than the defense this year, and it's been a couple years since we've been able to say that. Where are you feeling? I mean, camp is short, but how you feeling?
No, that's funny that you say that. I went through this. I've been doing this little series like strengths, biggest strength, biggest weakness, and X factor, and I did that for the Raiders, and I said that I thought that the biggest strength was going to be their offense, and I was like, I don't know. It's weird to say that, right? Because it hasn't been their biggest strength, right? And we all thought going into last year the defense was going to be lights out. Obviously, they got hit with injury, so that that slowed them down from being what they could be. But I have a lot of faith that Chip Kelly's going to be able to get creative with the offense. And I know that people are saying that there's no number one wide receiver, and the Raiders need to go get a veteran wide receiver, and Jacoby Myers is a good number two. And that might be true. Maybe he is a really good number two. But the one thing I know about Jacoby Myers that I've seen, and we were talking about it at practice the other day, is every time the ball's in the air, he's making a play. Every single time he's making a play. Like, you might not ever define Jacoby Myers as a number one wide receiver, but every time the ball's there, he makes a play. I had, matter of fact, the last 3 days, I got really close with Keondre Ishmael, who's, the Rocket Ishmael's brother. Remember, in the league, it was the Rocket and the Missile. Well, he was the Missile. His son is on the Raiders right now. So he was been at practice watching his son. He's a tight end. So Kadir. So he's there in the tight end room. So I've been standing there, and I like to really pick the brain of guys that have been there, done that. So when I can get on a conversation like this, I can know what the hell I'm talking about and have a little bit more explanation. And I, like I said, I like to listen to people as opposed to just talking all the time. And, the one thing that he keeps saying every time he like Jacoby Myers would make a catch, he would look over and go, and that's the guy that you keep calling the number 2. And he's not talking to me, but he was talking to another media member. He's like, you keep calling him number 2. Every time you call him a number 2, he keeps making a play. Look at that tough catch that he just made. That's a number one catch. Look what he just did. You see that route he just ran? That's a number 1 route. So it's so funny. Like, I don't think anyone's ever going to say Jacoby Myers is a true number 1 wide receiver. I know he played that in New England when they didn't have a lot of options there. But, man, the dude just all he does is make plays. All he does is catch the ball. All he does is make himself available, run his routes. He blocks. He's very unselfish. So it's so funny that everyone says, oh, you don't have the talent in the wide receiver room. It's too young, and then you only have Jacoby Myers. That might be enough. It might end up being enough. You got Trey Tucker there. That's the other thing. I think Trey Tucker is going to be used a lot differently than just the one-trick pony that he's been so far.
Very excited for him.
His career, right? I think you're going to see a lot of wide receiver screens, and you're going to see blockers that are willing to block, and you've got the speed there in Tucker. So I envision a world where Thornton could be your guy that they hit down the field for the big plays like a DK Metcalf. But I think that they're going to get creative with Trey Tucker. I really do. Just because he has that speed, and he hasn't, for some reason so far in his career, they haven't found some kind of role for him. It's nothing's ever been defined. It's like he's a one-trick pony, and he doesn't need to be that guy. You can get creative with that dude. So I think that you're going to see that as well. But, to answer your question, I guess a long answer to a short question is it does feel like the offense is going to be the strength. And if the defense can complement them, like they were 15th. They were ranked 15th last year, even though
that's good enough.
Injuries.
Yeah,
if they can have a 15th ranked defense, this Raiders team can win a lot of games.
Yep, that's good enough. That's all we need. And man, Trey, I'm excited for him, man. I mean, he had a fair shake to me since he's got in the league, but at the end of the day, like you said, the role's not defined, no consistent quarterback play. So I mean, I think now we'll finally be able to see what everybody's been waiting for from Trey this year too.
Yeah, I agree too. Let me ask you this, since you mentioned defense. What are your thoughts on the nickel position? I want to get Q's take on it. Like, how does that work out? Who do you think is going to be the guy they're going to fill it, or are they going to? I mean, we've been hearing Chin coming down, from up top, taking some nickel reps. What have you seen? How does that? What do you think is going to pan out there?
My gut feeling tells me Darnay Holmes is going to get that spot. That's who I feel like is going to get the spot. He's a guy that seems to be around the ball quite a bit. You go back and look what he did last year in a forced. He was forced into action a lot of times because Nate Hobbs was out. Those are big shoes to fill, because we know when Nate was in, he was on, right? Nate was really good when he was in, but he missed a lot of games because of injuries. So Darnay Holmes was thrown into the mix quite a bit. I think that he's going to end up earning that spot. I do think there's a world where you see Jeremy Chin come down and play that slot corner spot. The good thing about Chin is he's very versatile. You go back and see all the different snap counts he's had from the linebacker position, from the true safety position, from a corner position, from a slot corner. I mean, he's been all over the field, so he has that versatility. He could definitely do that. But I think at the end of the day, you'll see Darnay Holmes end up with that nickel corner spot. I think he's really good. He's got hands. He even had a sack last year. So there's many different things he could do. And I think you'll see Jamal Adams lined up in the slot as well. But when you see him lined up in the slot, he's probably getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, I was say don't make me sweat, Q. Don't make me sweat now.
It could be a giveaway though, because if you see him lining up in the slot, you're probably thinking, all right, here he comes, and that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna, like he did the other day. He does a couple fakes here, then boom, takes off and gets after the quarterback. So I'll see him line up there, but I don't think he's dropping in coverage. I don't think you have to worry about that.
I'll be screaming at my screen, Q, the first time I see him line up there. I ain't gonna lie. But hey, man, we got these cool last segments for you that we always like to get from our guests, man. It kind of give us an insight. You know what I mean? You know how long you've been around the Raiders, so this should definitely be a great segment right here. But who's on your Raiders Mount Rushmore, man? I mean, we got players, coaches.
Where's the coaches? Yeah,
we got everything.
It's so difficult. We did that during the off season with the Locked On Raiders podcast, and you know the whole network had us doing our Mount Rushmore, and so I obviously put Al Davis and John Madden, and then they hit me back and they're like, no coaches and no owners. I was like, wait, it's the Raiders. Like
right.
You know, what I learned from this exercise was that the Raiders have so many greats, you can't narrow it down to 4. Right. And so I tried when I did it, I ended up with, because I couldn't go play or coach or owner. So I ended up with Jim Otto. I ended up with Marcus Allen, Tim Brown, and who else did I put on there? Who else did I put on there? Marcus Allen, Jim Otto, Tim Brown. There was someone else. And Kenny Stabler. How'd I forget him? So what I tried to do, but I tried to include someone from, like, I didn't watch Jim Otto play, right? So, but I just know that that's Mr. Raider. I get that, right? I didn't get to see the greatness of the snake, but I know the greatness of the snake, and he won Super Bowls. But I mean, you could do, if I just went off guys that I saw, I mean, I can go Charles Woodson. Obviously, I'd put him on that list. I would go, you know, Tim Brown, I'd put on that list. I would definitely want to put Marcus Allen on there. You know, that's easy. Then I put Al Davis on there. It's just, there's so many greats. I mean, you know, you could do a defensive side of the ball for the Raiders. You could do an offensive side of the ball. You could do probably an offensive line, right? I mean, you could do, you know,
there's special teams if you wanted.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could go, if you really wanted to, you can go like, you could do quarterbacks, right? You could say, all right, you know, you got the snake, you got Jim Plunkett. Let's see what else. You could put the Mad Bomber on there if you want, right? And you could even put present day Rich Gannon, right? I mean, you could say that for what he was able to do if you want to get creative. I mean, I just think that there's so many greats in the history of the Raiders, depending on how old you are and what you've actually watched and what you've seen. I mean, because some will say, yeah, you know, Q, you said Charles Woodson, but hell, there was Willie Brown before Charles Woodson. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so many guys, and that's just really a credit to the organization. Like, I was making jokes, and I don't like to, you know, fire shots at other teams, but I was like, well, if I was, you know, the Panthers, if I was the Locked On Panthers guy, that'd be easy. Right? If I was the Locked On Jaguars guy, it'd be easy. There'd be no argument.
There's only 4, really. I mean,
right, exactly. like you're talking about the Raiders here, man. The Raiders, there's a reason wwhy they don't retire numbers. There'd be no numbers left. I mean, you know, it's what are you doing? So it's
we say this all the time, Q. It's like the greatness of the Raiders is so large and vast, and at the same time, you can also see how we've had all this success and we're still this iconic franchise. But for example, me and Jay, our Rushmore is kind of different because we really been around for really the only 24 years of Raider football. And if you think back to the last 24, 25 years of Raider football,
exactly.
You don't want to bring up anything.
I mean, the Raiders have been, 60-something years. And so some of these other, you know, organizations don't have longevity. They don't have history. The Raiders have history. But unfortunately for guys like me and you, the Raiders, their greatness was their history. Where they're supposed to be, their greatness is in their future. Their greatness is their history. And so that's the part that sucks. And that's the part that I hope at some point gets turned around where we start talking about, you know, like, oh, that guy's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer, right? And I think that, you know, maybe Max is on that trajectory, right? If he keeps doing what he's doing, I always say the 100 sack mark is where you're supposed to be. But hell, look at Greg Townsend, right? I mean, he's got 107.5 career sacks, 108, whatever the case may be. He's still not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it's just, it's pretty wild, man. But the Raiders have so much greatness and history, and it's time for them to start creating some new history and having a great future. And, you know, maybe a guy, you know, maybe Brock Bowers' 12, 15-year career, all of a sudden he could be that guy. If Genty goes and plays for 10, 15 years, who knows? But these guys are young, so you don't never know what's going to go on with their career, so you don't want to put them in that conversation already.
NFL's better when the Raiders are better. I mean, it's
definitely.
That. NFL's better when the Raiders are good.
Yeah, for sure. Let me go ahead and move into our final segment, the Spotlight. This is the time where we go ahead and meet our guest, and today's guest is none other than your boy Q. So let me go ahead and kind of jump back and start from the beginning. Let me ask you, how long have you been a Raider fan? And then what kind of made you fall in love with the silver and black?
I mean, I'm a Bay Area guy, so I've always rocked with the Raiders, in the Bay, and I'm an East Bay dude, right? So I was born in Oakland, California, and then grew up in the East Bay, and in the Bay, growing up, we had two decisions, right? You rock with the other dudes, or you rock with the Raiders. So I chose to rock with the Raiders, right? And I had a lot of friends that rocked with the other dudes, but it wasn't my vibe, man. It just wasn't how I wanted to get down. Raiders had a little swagger to them. Raiders had a little edge to them. You're wearing that Raiders starter jacket. It kind of means a little bit more than wearing that silly fool on your chest, right? It just felt different, right? And so you kind of just draw the line in the sand, like you rocking with them or you rocking with us. And so I always just decided, hey man, I'm rocking with us, man. I'm gonna be silver and black through and through. And when they came back to the Bay in '95, that was like awesome. That was amazing. We'd go to the games all the time and get to see them there. And I mean, it just was something special. And like I said, man, you just had a little bit more edge to you. You were the cool kid at school because you're walking around with the Raider park on as opposed to the other guys. And it like I said, it just meant more, big hip hop guys. So obviously hip hop started embracing the Raiders as well, Ice Cube and NWA and everybody. And that really took it to another level. So who didn't want to be a Raider, right? So yeah, it was an easy decision for me. And I've never swayed from since then.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and obviously, you've had the success of the radio show. Of course, how'd you get into that? You know what I mean? How's the journey been so far? You know what I mean? Going up to it, what's been challenging about it?
I mean, the business is challenging, right? I mean, again, being a Bay Area dude, I haven't been sports radio my whole life. I honestly didn't even know what I wanted to do. I was a guy that, I was always just athletic and I played all sports, and then didn't really know it was terrible in school, so I didn't know what I was going to do. I had a job at the grocery store, and I knew I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do something that everyone couldn't do. So I actually a long story, but whatever. I got a job as an intern at Wild 94.9 up in the Bay. I met some guys out on the streets. I met this dude, Slick D. He was part of the party crew, and he's like, "Hey man, if you want to get involved in radio, you don't have to go to school. You just get a job as an intern." And so it sounded like it was the easy thing to do, but I did like 3 or 4 interviews to get a job as an intern. I was like, wait, I got to interview all these times to get a job to make no money. Like, what are we doing? Right? You know what I'm saying? But it was like a sense of pride. And it's funny, being a Raider fan and you know how we are, like the edge that we always have. And, it's like our loyalty runs so deep that if you go against the Raiders, we're going to cut for the Raiders. Well, that's how it was early in radio as well. So we had Wild 94.9 and we had KMEL. Now, make no mistake about it, I was a fan of both stations. I love music. KMEL was more what I did because it was more hip hop than Wild 94.9 was. It was more of a kind of dancey and party music. But I got a job there, right? They wanted me there. They hired me at Wild, so I'm cutting for Wild. Right, it don't matter wherever we're at. If KMEL's there, we're battling. Right, it's the radio wars, man. I kind of brought that competitive edge to that job, and then I realized as an intern, probably maybe 6 or 8 months into it, that's what I wanted to do. But I wanted to do more in radio, so I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to talk about the music. I wanted to talk about I was looking up to guys like Strawberry. I'm looking up to Victor Zaragoza. That's actually my mentor, who's a Raider fan. So we clicked immediately. Like we clicked immediately. He matter of fact, I had a Honda Accord. It was a white one, and I had 3 Raider stickers on it on my side windows and on my back. And so he said, "Hey man, whose car is that in the garage that's got those Raider symbols on it?" "Oh, that's the intern Q. Oh, bring him here to me." So that's how me and Victor clicked. He was like, "You're a Raider fan?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Me too." And he introduced himself, and I started hanging out with him and started, sitting in on his show when I get back from the streets, and we'd be, doing little hits on the street or whatever. And I get back, "Hey man, can I sit in and learn from you?" Yeah. So he started teaching me this and that. And to this day, like I could hit him right now and be like, "Hey man, this is what's going on. What do you think?" And like that dude through and through is, like I said, my mentor, one of my best friends. He's the guy that put it all on the line for me and got me my first radio job. It wasn't there at Wild. It was in Stockton at K-Win. Shout out to Stockton, California, the 209. So I wanted to get on the air, and I said, what do I do? And he said, "Well, let's go." So he put together a air check tape for me, which is basically me being on the air, what it sounds like. So it could be like a demo tape, but I wasn't really on the air. We created it in the production room. So it wasn't nothing you would ever heard on the radio, but it was me, and it sounded like I was on the radio. So he called somebody that he knew over this radio station. He's like, "Hey man, I got this guy. I would never put my name on anybody in radio because they always let you down. But if I was going to put my name on somebody, I put my name on him because I know he's going to get it done. Like, I trust him. All right, cool. Bet. They hired me just like that. Right. And so that got me a job there. And I lasted there probably about 6 or 8 months. I was doing overnights, like midnight to 6 in the morning. And it was cool, but I wanted more. So then I ended up at Hot 104.7 in Merced. And then I wanted more. And so they had a sister station, Q97 in Fresno, but they were all the same company. So the guy in Fresno was like, hey, man, I see you're working here. You want to do a couple shows here? So literally, dog, I'm driving from Merced all the way to Fresno, doing a show, driving back to Fresno to Merced, doing another show, driving back to the Bay. I had a trunk full of Red Bull, and that's like my money was only it was only for gas. That's all I had really money for was gas and Red Bull. But I kept doing it because every time you turned on the radio, if you were in Fresno, if you were in Merced, if you were here, if you were in Los Baños or wherever it was, anywhere up and down the 99, you heard me, right?
Right.
And so when you can be heard, there's someone that could change. Like, there's someone that's listening to this chat right now that might be able to change someone's life. There might be a decision maker right now. It's like, hey, I like that guy. Let me reach out to him and get some, get his information and see what he can do. So that's what I thought. As long as I'm on the radio, someone's going to hear me. So I had a nice run at Q97 in Fresno, went up to Monterey, ran a little radio station up there, came back, boom, went to Texas, right? I'm a Bay Area cat.
Right.
I took myself all the way to Texas, right? And I was like, well, what's going on? That nobody had any idea what the hell was going on. I sure didn't know nothing about no damn Texas, but I went there for a music radio job that really wasn't very good. And so I stayed there for a quick minute, and then another station there wanted to hire me, but they had ESPN in the building. So I was like, okay, I'll work for you if I can work for them too. And he's like, well, if that guy says you can, then you can. So that was 2011. In 2012, the guy at the ESPN station said, all right, go ahead. We'll let you come on the show. So I was on ESPN Central Texas. And in 2014, I went all sports. I dropped music and went all sports, and I've been sports ever since. Okay. So, it's funny. That's how I got on the Locked On Raiders podcast. Me and James Arcelana from the Bay. That's my guy. That's another one of the guys that I consider my brother. We decided to do a podcast called the Black Hole Banter, right? And there wasn't a lot of podcasts and platforms that were talking about the Raiders at that time. It was kind of still, getting familiar. And I was just a dude that loved the Raiders, but I'm in Central Texas, so I'm talking about the Cowboys. I'm talking about the Texans. I'm talking about whatever, college football. I'm not talking about the Raiders because who cares about the Raiders in Texas? So, it wasn't that, but everyone knew I was a Raider fan, and I would get them in the conversation anytime I could. So he hit Twitter one day and was like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a Raider podcast. Anyone want to do it with me? And I didn't know him. I'd never met him, right? It's kind of like me and you guys, just hit each other on Twitter. So I hit him and I was like, hey, man, I do sports radio in Texas, but I'm a big Raider fan. I'll jump on with you. Cool, bet. Let's do it. So we came together, and that was the 2016 season. And you know how magical the 2016 season.
Yeah.
So that's how it got going, and we weren't getting paid for it. We were just doing it because it was fun, and we wanted to talk about the Raiders, and it was a great season. So the guy who runs the Locked On Podcast Network, David Locke, jumped in my DMs one day and was like, hey, man, you want to do the Locked On Raiders podcast? I like what you're doing on the Black Hole Banter. You want to do it? All right, sure. So I did it, and I've been doing it ever since. And that helped me get to Vegas, where I'm doing, I'm on Raider Nation Radio 920, and I'm the program director. And, I got ESPN Las Vegas in my building. So when I made the move from Texas to Vegas and started to run these stations, and I was part of Raider Nation Radio, and I started doing that show for free too. Before I even moved, I was on Raider Nation Radio with Scott Goldbranson. He had a show, and he was like, hey, you want to come on and do my show? So from Texas, I would be a guest on his show like every week, so people could start to get familiar with who I am and my voice and everything, and just get familiar with me in Vegas. So then anyway, they eventually hired me here in Vegas. Once I got here, I got here in July of 2021. In December, ESPN National sent me, I got a text message from Jason Fitz, who's a big time Raider fan as well. Shout out to Jason Fitz. And he said, hey, my boss wants your information. Can I give it to him? I was like, of course you can give it to him. So he gives it to him, and I get hired in December of 2021 to work for ESPN. So now I'm doing Raider Nation Radio 920. I'm doing my show 2 to 5 p.m. Unnecessary Roughness. I'm the program director of all these stations, which is incredible. What an opportunity. I'm hosting the Locked On Raiders podcast that's been very successful since I started doing it back in like 2018 or whenever, so many years ago now. And now I'm on ESPN National, right? And I got, I've done Game Night. I had a show that was called Joe and Q. It's still going, but it's going to end on September 2nd when Rich Eisen returns to ESPN. And then I'm going to go back to Game Night. But it's like all these opportunities just came from hopping on, doing a conversation, not knowing who's listening, and someone could change your life. So I know that might be a boring story for a lot of people, but it also could be inspirational because, like, you don't know. Like, anytime you guys hop on and do this show, like, do it to the best of your ability. Like, kick ass every time you do it, because there could be someone that's listening. It's like, man, I like that guy. Let me reach out and get his information or whatever. And you never know where it's going to go from there. So I'm in this situation because I never stopped working. I never thought I would be in this position, but you just never know. So, when you asked me to hop on and I was like, man, I got to go to the barbershop, but I want to hop on. I mean, it's because I was you. I was the same guy. I was the same, like, hey, man, can you come on my show? Hey, man, can you come on my show? And it's hard. It is hard work to get somebody to come on the show and give up their time and maybe a Saturday morning or whatever to hop on with you. But if you can do it, keep grinding, keep inviting guests on, keep doing the best that you can, because at some point, no matter what you want out of this, you might end up getting a little bit more. And I'm living proof that that's how it happens.
Yeah, man, that was a dope story, bro. That
Great
was a
origin
dope
story. Yeah,
that give us inspiration,
stories,
man. We need that because of course we trying to take this higher. Then a lot of other creators may have taken it, and that's of course no shot. But at the end of the day, you want to try to do something different. You know what I mean? You want to try to do something different in the space. So I appreciate you sharing that story with us. I know Jay appreciate it too, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, for sure.
Sure.
Let me, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with this. Let me ask you, what do you have that's going on, or anything that we should kind of be looking out for from Locked On or from yourself? I know you had you guys came out with a new show, The Squad.
Yeah, the Raider Squad show has been going really good. Chantel Chan, she's a Raider fan. She leads it. She kind of gets her Howard Cosell on, and Lincoln Kennedy and myself. And I mean, you want to talk about an easy show, easy and fun show. You got Big Lincoln. Anytime that you can pick the brain of Lincoln Kennedy, like, are you kidding me?
So, we got to get him on. We got to bring him on.
Yeah, for sure. I'll matter of fact, I'll shoot you his contact after this is all over, so you guys can start to reach out and start to network.
Man, that's love.
As long as you let him know that I send you his way. He'll take care of you. So we'll make that happen. But Lincoln's fantastic, right? And he's such a wealth of knowledge. So to be able to do twice a week a 1 hour live stream for Raider Nation is fantastic. And so we're doing it on Monday and Thursdays, and it switched like Monday and Wednesday. And so we're gonna try to be consistent, but sometimes the schedule change due to someone having to travel or whatever the case may be. But it's been really successful so far, and having the element of Chantel there too as a Raider fan, it just really it's awesome. So the Locked On Podcast Network, man, they continue to kind of raise the bar. I'm so impressed because I mean I didn't know when I started working with them and for them, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know, is this going to be around for a year? Is this going to be around for 6 months? But man, I've been doing it since Gruden returned, right? And that was in 2018. So it was just like it's been incredible, and it's just grown, and it shows the passion of Raider Nation too. That's the other thing, man. Like, I don't poo-poo on other organizations and everything, but if they had the fan base and the passion that the Raider Nation is, if they had that fan base backing their teams up, like, it would be incredible, right? And there's some teams that have incredible fan bases, but there's other teams that they're still trying to figure it out. Well, the Raiders are trying to figure out winning. But the fan base has been winning.
The fans aren't the problem.
Right, exactly. So it's just an honor to be able to do this and be able to talk about and cover and go to practice for a team that I grew up a fan of, as opposed to going and seeing the Cowboys or the 49ers or whatever. And that's normally how it works. In this business, you normally don't get the luxury of being able to cover your favorite team. I just happen to fall into a great situation, and I don't take it for granted that it's a hell of a responsibility, but it's a little bit difficult too, because you don't want to look at it through silver and black glasses. You don't want to just look at it. So being objective, some people don't like it at times. Some people get mad because, oh, you're hating, or you're being angry, or you're being this, and it's just like, no, I'm being honest. I have a responsibility to be honest, and that's the biggest thing. You could criticize, as long as you're being honest about it. It's never personal. Like I'll never take personal shots at people, because maybe they didn't let me interview them or whatever. I'll never take personal shots like that. If somebody rubs me the wrong way, I'll say it, but I'll say like, this is why. I mean, it's just it's okay to be critical and it's okay to tell the truth, but you try not to be personal with certain people and players, because then it just becomes like a pissing match. There ain't no reason for that.
Yeah, I say that all the time, man. I mean, can't come out here and say everything's Tom Brady or Randy Moss or everything like that. I mean, a lot of Raider. When it comes to Raider fans, man, we win in the Super Bowl. We going 17-0. We get this. We draft somebody in the 7th round, and he gonna become the greatest, whatever position that is. But you gotta have a job
last year, right? Wasn't that Dylan Lobby last year?
Yeah, it's Cody Lindenberg this year. They trying to tell me Cody Lindenberg, Luke Kuechly.
You know what's funny though is, hey man, I saw Dylan Lobby at rookie minicamp last year. I saw him at OTAs, and I was like, they like this guy a lot, man. He's gonna get a lot of burn this year. Like that, I swore he was gonna get so much action last year, and he didn't get no action. And when he did, he fumbled. And I was like, oh man. It's so easy to do that though. You start to see these guys and you see them in practice and you see what they're doing. And I think he's going to be something. Yeah, they like him, man. Watch out for him. He's a late round pick, small school. He went to New Hampshire. This guy's going to surprise and shock everyone. And it's hard. It's so hard, man, because again, sometimes it appears to be one way and it ends up being completely different.
That's what's scaring us about Dante Thornton. That's what a lot of us are starting to be like, oh my God.
Hopefully we're not wrong.
Man, yeah, we appreciate you, man. Of course. I'm gonna be out there on the Monday practice. Just got some tickets. So hopefully, you know what I mean, I can see you out there or whatever the case. I'll be out there with my dog
Monday?
Cheeto. This coming Monday.
Okay,
This coming Monday.
That's the first day
I'll be out there Saturday.
Okay, First day of
at me. You'll see me. Just yell at me.
Okay, say less, man. Say less.
Yeah,
it's my first time my lady doing something like this, man. So we got to indoctrinate her into the nation. So
for sure, no, it's awesome, man. Definitely, just holler at me, man. I'd love to chop it up with you for sure.
Okay, say less, man. I'll definitely see you over there.
Yeah. We'll be. Yeah, he'll be over there. I don't know if you're gonna go to the Saturday open practice run.
Yeah, at Allegiant.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
Yep. Okay, cool. You'll be there. I'll be there.
I'm definitely there Monday, man. I need to see that first day of pads, see what's going on that day, man.
Good deal. Yeah,
there you go. That's what's up. It's gonna be a good time in Vegas this next week coming up for sure. But again, we appreciate you pulling up with us, chopping up with us, taking this time out of your Saturday to go ahead and hang out and just talk some Raider football. We appreciate you, brother. We're big fans of the show. Make sure you guys go ahead and tap into Locked On Raiders every damn morning. Make sure you tap in with our guy Q. Unnecessary Roughness is your local in Vegas. Make sure you guys go ahead and tap in 920 AM radio. And of course, their new show, Raiders The Squad, with Chantel, our guy Lincoln Kenny, and then of course our boy Q here. Make sure you guys go ahead and tap in to the Locked On Raiders Network. But again, appreciate you pulling up with us. That is our time for today. We will not have a show next week, as you guys heard. We will be in Vegas. We'll be at that open practice at camp. So we're gonna be doing the damn thing. We're gonna get some good footage. And then we'll go ahead and share it the following week. But no Good Morning Raiders next week. But again, make sure you guys head on over, hit that subscribe button, hit those thumbs. It really does go a long way to go ahead and support the shows, especially if you're feeling what you're hearing. If you guys want to see more guests, make sure you guys hit that bell, turn on notifications, hit that subscribe button on both channels for sure. But that is our time for today. We'll see you guys next time. And again, always remember, just Raiders, baby. Just win. Appreciate y'all.
Y'all know what it is. Y'all be safe. See y'all next time, man. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.